Are we live? Are we on? I think we are on the air. I've got my microphone. I've got my coffee. Hi there. Thanks for checking in. I'm Jerrel, the developer of the Silver Falls games from Sungrand. I'm not sure who's here in the chat, but feel free to hang out. We can talk about whatever. I'm going to be sculpting some monsters, and I thought this would be a fun way to hang out and show you my process here of taking simple pixel art and turning the idea and the design into a 3D model. Let me know if the music is too loud, and I will adjust it. I might turn it down on my speakers just here. Why don't I fix that just now? How about that? Right. So today I'll be using Sculptress and my Wacom Intuos 4. This is my trusty tablet. I really enjoy the user face on this guy. He's got this wheel, he's got programmable buttons. I have some other Wacom tablet models, but it's really the wheel and the customizable controls that really make this one my favorite to use for sculpting, because the wheel's so great. Right, I've got two styli here with me. I've got one with a felt tip and then one with a plastic. So this one is for more precision. There's more friction, so it moves slower. And then the plastic one, generally I only use this one for coloring, as you can get a faster, smoother brushstroke with that. So, okay, that's the equipment I'll be using today. Okay. All right. So, we're in, and I'll just have a sip of my coffee. Feel free to enjoy your coffee as well. It's nice coffee. Okay. Let me just hit a button here to toggle the display. There we go. I have a multi-monitor setup, and the tablet has a button that lets me quickly select which monitor I want to use. Okay, so I'll be using a couple images for reference here. Really, the guy that I want to create here is this blood balloon. Now, it seems pretty simple, but there's a reason why I have to put in a bit of planning and thought into modeling this monster. So this is a monster that we found in Silver Falls Ghoul Busters, and Ghoul Busters is out now for all 3DS models. That launched 2 months ago, I think. About 2 months ago. You can get that on the 3DS eShop right now. And there's a bunch of fun monsters in there. People have told me that they enjoyed the fun designs for these guys in the game. And I'll be modeling this one. And the reason why we are working on this balloon, we're just going to call him a balloon, is he appears in upcoming Silver Falls titles as well. The game that I'm finishing up, it's like 97% complete. I'm just implementing some final things to prepare it for launch. And I had finished up the substantial amount of content, and then I usually save things towards the very end of development. And it turned out that I had saved modeling this guy until the very end. I had my hands full. I was working on so much other content, and then I realized, oh, I think it's time to implement the model for this. Often I'll use placeholder graphics until later in development, so it's now time to remove the placeholder graphics. So the game I'm creating this for is Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, which should still launch on the 3DS eShop in North America. Okay, the other reference material I will be viewing is this here. Is there I guess I'll have to use my mouse here to navigate. Okay, so you can see in the Ghoul Busters game, this balloon guy looks just like that. So that will be also my core reference material in terms of scale. You know, in terms of the box art can be off a little bit. You know, it's more about representing an idea as opposed to being one-to-one, true to scale with the game presentation. But you can see his dangler is a little longer in the gameplay, so I want to make sure that I pay more attention to this artwork as opposed to that one when I'm working on scale. Now, the reason why I need to work carefully with some planning is because this guy actually has a couple different mutations. You can see he has this version where his dangler is a little shorter, and he has spikes coming out. We also have this version where he's sort of deflated, and he's upside down, and he's on the ground. So we have to be able to deflate him and flip him upside down as well. So that's something that I will do with, again, we'll sculpt a variation of that, and then we'll have his dangler sticking out the top. Hey, Oli Dog, how's it going? Tim, Lunar Knights, thanks for jumping on the stream. Regarding Guardians being listed as 3DS instead of new on the eShop, out of curiosity, I tried to buy it and it took my money, but it gives an error before the download is able to start. Oh no, oh no, Tim. Yes, so I tried to explain it in some places before, but it's such a complicated situation. What happened with Guardians and Metal Exterminators is when you register a game with Nintendo, this is stuff you have to do way in advance. You have to tell them what console it's going to launch on. So I originally told, or I originally registered the game with them, so the game had to be compatible with all models. And what happened, the game was about 98% complete, and suddenly Unity broke the game, and there was absolutely no way I could make Unity work properly again. It refused to let the game run on original hardware. It would boot up, it would get a little bit into it, and then it would stop working, and there was absolutely nothing I could do. And so it was at that point where I had to say to Nintendo, because this was very late in everything, in all the processes, and I just had to tell Nintendo, I'm sorry, you know, I registered this game and I said I was going to have it submitted here, but it looks like I can't get Unity to work properly. And so at that point I had to say, look, I'm gonna have to cancel the game. And yeah, I don't know the people that work at Nintendo, but they're absolute heroes because they stepped in and I don't know what kind of magic they worked, but they did something, and they were able to get the game to launch on just the new consoles, which was not going to be an option because the way I had registered it. And so I'm extremely grateful because it's the people that work in Nintendo's offices. They made the game possible. If it wasn't for the people in Nintendo's offices, the game wouldn't have happened. So they did some kind of magic. I don't know how they did it, but I'm just so grateful. And especially now that people are really enjoying the game, you know, and it's just meant to be a fun, relaxing, I guess sort of a battle action game where you build up your characters and whatnot, and people seem to be really enjoying that. So I'm so grateful that Nintendo got the game to launch. Okay. And oh yeah, also, hey Jason, how's it going? Oh, you're on two. Luna Knights is going hardcore on Ghoul Busters, and he's going through the game without items. So I commend you. The game really wants you to use items, but if you're gonna go no items, then more power to you. That's hardcore mode. And then also we do need to plan out. So we'll make our core balloon, and then we will have to give him. I do want to make this version as well. So after the core balloon, we have to modify it to give it this claw machine here. And there is a version that spews out the spew, and he's got little side danglers as well. So let's go ahead and let me zoom out. Let me find that guy. Nintendo says they're going to check out, and I'll probably get a refund. It was funny that the transaction worked. I hope they give you a refund. Yeah, it has become just a complicated situation because it was like by the width of a hair that this game was able to launch. You know, Nintendo worked magic to get the game to launch. But I think because of that situation, there are some clerical errors or some typographical errors that resulted in the game looking like it could launch on the original. But the fact that it launched is a miracle, and it's a testament to show that I think the people that work at Nintendo, they really, really do care about the fans of Nintendo. See, this is the guy that I was talking about, right? So if you look at the box art, this is actually the version. This is not the your basic balloon that's on the box art. It's actually this dangler guy, so he should be spewing out. So if you've played Ghoul Busters, you'll know that he spews out stuff. Sometimes he'll spew out into the foreground and the background in 3D. So I thought that's a fun use of 3D. Better and Cinder, how's it going? I suppose the 3DS development version of Unity isn't supported anymore, right? Correct. Yes. So Unity for 3DS and Wii U are no longer supported, and so it's very difficult. And it's I work with the team at Unity on 3DS, and they said it's a very difficult platform to work with. I know they work so hard because I was in amongst the trenches with them trying to figure out how to make certain things work, how to make certain things stop crashing. They tried so hard. They really put in a massive amount of effort. Especially, I only know one engineer that was working on the Unity engine, trying to get versions that just work. It was such a struggle. So the fact that it's not just me that's working on this stuff, it's heaps of people. The fact that we're able to get any of these games out, I think it's just a huge testament to show that these people are passionate about what they do as well. They really want to make games for people. All right, so I'm gonna start. Let me get to my grabby tool here. And again, if this is your first stream, sort of hanging out while I sculpt monsters, the reason why I like using this tablet is because it is pressure sensitive, and you have very fine control. I really would not like to do this with a mouse. It just doesn't have the kind of precision and control that I want when I'm sculpting. And so to sort of match the organic and uncanny feel of the other Silver Falls creatures, I try to make them have what looks like defined muscles and tendons, and that gives a sense of detail. Like the rule of thumb is the more detail something unhuman has, the more upsetting it is to look at, and the more visceral it can become. So I try to do that, and then once I have all the detail in, I push the button that that reduces the poly count so the game can run on consoles. But for high poly count renders, it's good to have these guys here. I need to get my pixel art back on the screen here. I'll just put it on another monitor off to the side. So I'm gonna start my base balloon, and then we can mutate him. So look, we could also have this long boy here. These guillotines, man, these really, if you've played Ghoul Busters, these things will, you'll probably have an opinion about them. All right. Okay, I will take this. Actually, you know what? I can just, there we go. I can look at both of them at the same time. We can see it on the stream, just like that. Fantastic. Too bad they can drag stuff out until the end of the year, since the eShop closes in March 2023. Yeah, we can all still use shared funds. So if you want to keep making eShop purchases, you can still use your shared funds. People are still doing that. It is confirmed. So we can do that. All right, I'm going to start building his dangler, and then I'm going to sort of, I want to make it look like it's coming out of like a hole that really doesn't want to be a part of the whole ensemble here. All right, let's get the dangler here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because this is requiring more, I just need like a massive amount of movement. I'm swapping out the felt tip, and I'm going to the plastic. It's smoother, so I can move faster and there's less friction. There we go. And if I'm sculpting things like muscle definition and tendons, if I'm trying to show bones underneath the skin, that's when I'll switch to the felt tip, where I need more control. Jason, it's incredible that Nintendo let you launch these last-minute final games and that they saved Guardians and Metal Exterminators for you and for all of us. Yeah, I'm so grateful to them. It was so close. Like, I obviously am not allowed to discuss the details, you know, of my dealings with Nintendo, but wow, they really, Nintendo are the ones that made the game launch, you know. How long is this guy? Oh, let's see. Is that? Nah. Okay. So I'm doing here is I'm just sort of building a little small dangler. I want to get it to scale. Then I will inflate it so it matches. Okay. Is there a very real chance that game will be the last 3DS game? There's a pretty good chance. Like we saw in Europe, the situation changed suddenly, and all of a sudden I wasn't able to launch the games there anymore. So game is out, and like I said, Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, this is one of the very last things I need to add to it, and then I can submit it. There's a couple more tracks that I need to finish as well, so within the next 4 or 5 days I'll have the launch version absolutely finalized and sent through to Nintendo America, and hopefully they can get Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers onto the eShop, and that would be ideal. And you know, we always said it's touch and go. Whatever we can launch, you know, we'll do our best to try and launch whatever we can. I think I'm just going to grab this guy's dangler and stretch it now. Here we go. So what I will do is get my inflate tool just here. I'm with you, Oli Dog. I really hope that Vicarious Brothers can launch as well. And for anyone that's been following the series for a while, they would have heard rumblings of Vicarious Brothers for a while now. You know, that's something that has been in planning and early production for years, and it would be great if that could be the last title to launch. Is that dangler? Look, okay, I gotta squish, the balloon is a little too long, right? I gotta squish the bottom part. That was always my plan. I'm just looking at the scale here. And I don't want to bend the dangler. I'm going to wait until I get that to the rigging software so I can put some bones in this guy, and then the bones will animate it. Are you allowed to discuss how far along Vicarious Brothers is right now? It's far enough from the launch day version, because there are things missing, to where if I don't, you know, if I don't work at an inhuman speed, it's not going to make it to the eShop. So it's going to be an incredible miracle if I'm able to launch that. Because there's, again, when you send something to Nintendo, they give you feedback, and then you have to make sure everything is as they expect. You have to respond to their feedback and adjust things if needed. Let's see here. All right, so I'm looking at the scale. Like, this is pretty round, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this fella. I'm just gonna, because I've always wanted to squish this bottom part, right? I wanted to make it feel, I wanted this bottom part to feel quite fleshy, like it's being held up by this round part up here. There we go. That's nice and fleshy, isn't it? Okay. And okay, and I want to inflate. There we go. So that, yeah, it's got a bit of fleshy mass there, doesn't it? Yeah. You know what? It's never stated in game what this thing is. It's part of the ensemble. Oh, Jason, I would have loved if Virtual Boy games came to the 3DS. I would have bought every single one. I don't care how wonky they would have been for my eyeballs. I don't care if they gave me headaches. I would have purchased every Virtual Boy game if it came to the 3DS. All right, so I'm using my Crease Tool now. Oh, I was about to make a mistake. I'm going to save here. Yep. A tease for Silverfall's Meow. Make out everyone wish. Who knows? Alright, so what I'm going to do is crease this, and I'm going to build up some sort of fleshy mass around it. So I'm following my rule of an uncanny amount of detail. The more detailed something is, the more unpleasant and uncanny it can feel. Alright, so we've got this crease here. I'll just go through it again. And then I'm going to build up a fleshy lip around it, which is a phrase that I already don't like that I've said that phrase. It actually was unpleasant to say. Okay, there we go. Let's see, is that... Okay, see, now it looks like it's coming out of the thing properly, doesn't it? Okay. And in general, asymmetry is ideal if you want something to look unpleasant and unsettling. A quick trick is to make it asymmetrical, have one side be uneven and not match the other. Guardians and Metal Exterminators as the prequel. Okay, I promise I won't talk about fleshy lips again for the rest of the stream. Alright. Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, this absolutely does work on all 3DS models. So the reason why I'm making such high poly count and high definition models is the entire core gameplay for Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers is pre-rendered. So that means I don't have to worry about Unity's instability with 3D models. Unity can get pretty unstable when it comes to that. And that's partly why Guardians and Metal Exterminators, why it became unstable on older models, is Unity. For some reason, it'll get to a point where it's had enough, and your game won't work anymore. So this game relies on 2D graphics, and there'd be nice high poly count, high texture resolution. All right. No, I don't want to inflate my fleshy lips yet. I don't like that phrase either. Okay. There we go. Let's just take a step back. See, the way I'm zooming in and out is I'm using the wheel on my tablet, so I quite prefer this as a development tool. Oh, I got a track from Guardians playing. I'll turn that up. How about that? We can all listen to some Guardians music. But let me know if the music's too loud. No, better get my hold on now. Get the chat back up. I heard the kissing technology add-on is almost done in development. You know, the difficulty is we were testing the plugin that lets the game detect kissing, and then it changes the shape of the lips based on the character that you're smooching. But it turned out after a while the battery heated up, and then the smooching added too much heat, and then you could also charge the kissing add-on while you're using it, and if you charge the add-on while you're smooching, it can become dangerously hot. So we are having someone review that peripheral because we don't want to set people's lips on fire when they're smooching Silverfall's characters. I'm kind of wishing I grabbed some Cheetos from the store before we got started. I swear I'm not sponsored by Cheetos. I feel like I talk about them an awful lot, but I swear I have Cheetos like twice a year. I think I might just grab these fleshy lips and pull them now. Yeah, I think it's time to grab them lips. Is the Watch ID you had teased a couple months ago still under wraps? Yeah, look, between us, we can discuss it. We can discuss it freely. It's not a super a secret, but it's still in development. But I've put that on hold because now I'm 100% focused on getting these 3DS and Wii U things. These things just need to be in the best shape they can be. They need to launch, and they need to be updated and patched to fix anything before the eShop closes. Dang it, I can't pull these lips fast enough. Come here, lips. Come here. There we go. I'm starting to get it. I gotta grab them lips from the outside, right? There we go. Okay. That's it. Come on, lips. There we go. All right, there we go. And of course, this game, Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, will include the Ruby River game mode, and that's where you get to build structures. It's just an open world, very chilled, very relaxed. Of course, there's going to be monsters and whatnot, but yeah, I really hope this game can launch because there's so much content that people can just enjoy for a long time. You know, since the eShop is ending, and this is it. I want to give people something cool that they can enjoy. All right, so now what I might do, okay, you know what? I think I just need to extend the lips a little bit here, and then I can. All right, so what I need to do is go inside a little bit and pull that up. There we go. Yum, 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 yum. I don't want people to see where my tube attaches, you know? My dangler should be attached in a place where people can't see. There we go. And then I'll have to reduce the polygons. I could get into a dangerous situation where I could accidentally pinch those polygons, and it can cause sculpting problems. So I will reduce the poly count in that area pretty soon. Yeah. And because you know that you can view models from different angles, I really want to make sure that you can't see the dangler attachment point. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit at our beautiful boy. There are laws about that. Cough 64. Well, there's so much content I want to add to these games, you know. All right. Okay. Now, again, I'll move on. I think I'm focusing too much on these lips right now. Oh, what's happening? Save. Save? There we go. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, hold on. That's not exactly what I wanted. Oh, let's just... right about here. There we go. Okay. There we go. And then what I'm going to... I'm pushing it in here so I can give the lips more definition. There we go. And then I want a shelf above them so that it looks fleshy. You know what I mean? There we go. Okay. It's tough trying to give character to things that don't have a face. You know, when things, at least, you know, there's quite a few monsters in the series that have faces. It's easier to make those expressive. When all you've got is like this little dangler thing, you know, you got to get creative in terms of trying to make your guy expressive some way. There we go. Okay. I'll turn the music down a little bit in case it's too loud. Yeah, people have been asking for the soundtrack, so I will try to arrange the soundtrack for Guardians and Metal Exterminators pretty soon so that people can enjoy that. It's just, you know, I don't want to do a half job on it. I want to do it in the best way possible. But right now, you know, my hands are so busy. I've got my hands full just getting the launch day versions of these finalized. You can see I've trying to get this last minute guy sculpted. Okay, sure, yeah. All right. So if we turn off the wireframe, there we go. So I'll expand on that a little more, but there we, oh yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and compare it to this guy. So I think we need to make it fatter now. His dangler is a little too skinny. I'll bring the chat back up. One of the best things about Silver Falls series is how different each game format is. You've got over-the-shoulder, Resident Evil, Silent Hill type, RPG, turn-based action RPG, Atari, Game Boy. It's brilliant. Oh, thanks, Jason. Yeah, look, it's tough when your favorite game series, if there's a game series you really like, it's tough when they keep doing the same thing over and over again, and then it's even worse when they do something so off the wall that it doesn't feel right anymore. And so that was one of my priorities when planning the Silver Falls series, is how do I avoid stagnation with doing the same thing over and over again, and then how do I avoid alienation, which is not the good kind of alienation, because there's aliens and UFOs in Silver Falls. There's that alienation. That alienation is when you suddenly, like, I don't know, if you were to make Silver Falls like, or if you were to make like Silent Hill a kart racing game, I don't think people would be happy with that, would they? They'd say, wait a second, there's no more puzzles? You know, and Konami just said sort of like, oh no, now it's a kart racer, now it's a pachinko machine, there's no puzzles here, just, you know, it's a different game now. I think, you know, it always sucks when that happens. All right, so what I will do now, I'm going to save. I need to start using my reduce brush to clean this area up, because the poly count is way too high now. There we go. You guys feel free to enjoy your coffee as well, you know. So yeah, what we'll be doing on stream, I'll get this base guy done, and then we'll make the variations. So again, we're gonna work on, actually I was planning doing adding this guy to Deathly Delusion Destroyers, but I think for time we're just gonna stick to the balloon. I'll get more mileage out of the balloon, because if I make the base balloon, I can make some variations. If I spent the time sculpting this guy, it's just the one version of him. So yeah, we can these three variations. I don't think I'll do the pendulum. I might want the claw machine version. We'll see. Having the three versions already is pretty good, but claw machine would be really cool to have, I think. Okay, Pokemon Pinball though, that is awesome. Very cool, especially when you play it on hardware. You've got the rumble and everything. Pokemon Pinball is pretty rad. Or are you talking about the mini version, or was there one on game? Did the Game Boy one have rumble? I don't know. They are fun. They're so much fun. I really like the Pokemon mini version. Okay, that's looking very gross in there. Nice. Oh, hi, Stefan? Stefan, let me know how to say it. These are wicked designs, reminding me a little of Metroid. Massive Metroid fan right here. I love the atmosphere, the designs, the music. Strangely enough, for years and years I didn't play Samus in Smash, even though that's my kind of character. I think Samus is awesome. I didn't use Samus for years because it was the down B confused me. Like after you use Samus's down B in Smash, her mobility changed. Like she was faster than if you touch the bomb you bounce. So I was awful at using that. But then like a couple months ago, I put in the effort to just learn how to play Samus in Smash, and now I really enjoy playing Samus in Smash. I think it's very fun. So I just want to look at my dangler thickness and make sure that it lines up here. Oh, yes. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't played through Ghoul Busters yet, but eventually you get this huge mass of balloons. They're all stuck together, Some of them actually have a dangler that spews stuff out as well. You can see the spiked version here. So eventually they just all start getting attached together, which is a sad existence, I think. Oh, right, Tim. So the Pokemon Rumble had, or Pokemon on the Game Boy Color had the Rumble pack. I didn't get to play that one. I got to play it on the Pokemon Mini, which is pretty rad. Something about a Diglett, you know, on the Pokemon Mini, watching the Diglett pop in and out. I don't know, it's like ASMR for my eyeballs, I think. Luna Knights. So the modeling for this, it's going to be for all of the future upcoming Silver Falls games that will, some of them will feature this enemy, but specifically this is for our upcoming 3DS game, Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers, and I may even use it for Gaiden on the Wii U as well. So it'll be for both Gaiden games. So what I want to do is make the dangler look veiny and fleshy, so I want it to be uneven. So I'm just going to go back to draw. There we go. So I want it to be, so I'm going to add, you know, some sort of lumpiness to it, yeah? So it looks like just a lumpy appendage of flesh that isn't quite right. Okay, so first we'll do our larger lumps, and then we'll kind of make it sort of veiny then, won't we? There we go. We want to give it a nice organic look. Okay, and then it has this spout at the end, so let's go ahead and carve our little spout here. So we want to make it wide to have an opening like this. And I am still working on the Pokemon Mini for the, I mean the Silver Falls Mini for the Pokemon, but I've had to move development back while I finish these games for 3DS and Wii U. So hopefully we can look forward to that. And if you don't have a Mini, I'll distribute the ROM for free, of course, online, so everyone can play Silver Falls Mini using whatever emulator they would like. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that. There we go. And I'm very much looking forward to doing Silver Falls Mini as well, because I plan to do a soundtrack for that, but I'm going to do the sort of the 1-bit soundtrack that's just the speaker buzzer, and then I am going to make a full version of the soundtrack with full instrumentation and everything. Come on, go up there. Go up in there. I want to make it high enough so that if the player looks up into his dangler, you won't see the end of it, which is a weird sentence already. Okay, let's go ahead and reduce that now. There we go. There's a good dangler. Ew, it looks, yep, it's looking real fleshy and gross. Nice. And then what I will do is I will paint the inside of this black, so that it's not, so that it won't reflect light. So once, if you look in there, it'll just be sort of a detail-less cavern, and that way I don't have to sculpt too far in there. Okay. I wonder if that's gone high enough yet. Look, I think that's probably gone high enough, right? Now I'm just going to grab this bottom part here and stretch it out a bit. Yeah? Okay. I'm looking at my scale, and okay. I might want to make it just a little bit thicker overall. Okay. And then again, eventually we will want to get to our reduce brush to tame that poly count. If we let our poly count go out of control, we're going to have a bad time. Okay, there we go. And then we want the bottom of our dangler, the opening, we want it to look fleshy and organic as well. Right now, it just looks a little adorable, doesn't it? Okay. We'll save it, and then we'll go ahead and we'll go like this. Now we want to make it feel like the lips of the dangler are sort of protruding out. Okay. There we go. And then again, we'll get to the reduce brush later on, and get our poly count under control. Right now we are at 77,000 triangles, which is a whole lot of triangles. Okay. That's it. And almost all the way around, we are almost there. Okay. Let's see, just a couple of funny spots where it sticks out. Okay. All right. For anyone playing Guardians and Metal Exterminators right now, do you have any particular characters that you like best using? I had a hard time picking. I couldn't pick a favorite. I mean, I kind of like Karn. Oh, but he hasn't been released yet. But I'm actually going to start a promo so we can distribute Karn early. So you can get playable Karn from 3 Down Stars, and he's also in Heavy Shadow, the novel, as well. All right, so I'm gonna squeeze this part in now, right, like this here. Okay. Slim. Everyone wants Slim to be playable, either in Frontier Fighters or in Guardians and Metal Exterminators. Oh, actually, I was just having a funny conversation with Jason earlier, and yeah, I thought a funny detail to reveal was the reason why monsters are playable in Guardians and Metal Exterminators. So I knew that what style of game would be just like I wanted a sort of relaxed, easy to jump in and out of game. And the reason why monsters are playable was because I wanted the acronym of the game to be GAME. Originally, Guardians and Metal Exterminators would be that LCD style, Tiger Electronics style game. And so I thought, okay, so the acronym has to be GAME. I've got to think of words that fit into the acronym. So I came up with Guardians and Metal Exterminators. And I swear to you, I came up with the name before I came up with the concept of the game. I didn't even have the idea for the monsters, the Metal Exterminators. I just thought, I've got to come up with a name that fits into the acronym GAME. So the title of the game in this situation came first. And then I thought, okay, well, if it's Guardians and Metal Exterminators, maybe the Metal Exterminators would have to be pretty important. So I thought, oh, I'll make them playable somehow. And from there, the idea evolved, and I thought, well, instead of just making one kind of monster playable, the Metal Exterminators, I thought, what if other monsters were playable as well? And that would lean more into the idea. It would give a more realized execution of the concept of the playable monsters. So it is the acronym. I came up with the title first to fit the acronym, and that's why we have playable monsters in Guardians and Metal Exterminators. I'm gonna put bones, when I'm animating this guy, I'm gonna put bones all throughout his little dangler so I can animate it, you know, sort of doing a funny, gross thing. Also, you know, when you want to make things more unappealing and gross and uncanny, you can over-animate them. You know, sort of like a Polar Express situation, how that has the uncanny valley effect to it. Yeah, you can over-animate things and then make it feel unsettling as well. Okay. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I am pretty happy with that. Jason, I'm absolutely loving getting to play as the monsters in Guardians and Metal Exterminators. Um, that it was so much fun testing during development, getting to play as the monsters, um, especially the certain monsters and the Heavy Shadow novel that will have code linker uh, connectivity with games. So when Heavy Shadow launches with a physical copy, there will be a code linker system included in the book, so you can content that's in stuff that's in the Heavy Shadow novel, you can actually add it to the games. So Guardians and Metal Exterminators is already set up to connect with the Heavy Shadow novel. And depending on how my schedule goes, if I see that there's going to be more delays in terms of finishing Heavy Shadow and getting that out, then I might run a promo so people can get the content early. We'll just see how my schedule goes for the rest of the year. Jason, do you have a favorite monster to play as? Oh, someone said the other day, or yesterday, they were playing Honored. Was it Nukatha? In the stream? And then I want to be careful with the inflate option around here because I can really mess up that area. So I have to be careful not to use inflate there. What I will do is use the grab tool. All right, so we're looking at it. Yeah, you know what? That's looking all right. We're getting somewhere, guys. Okay. I want to make this more veiny and unpleasant to look at. And I want to get a bit more veininess around here as well. But the ballooned dome part I'm quite happy with. After that, we'll make his fat... Where did the fat version go? He's got the extra dangly bits. All right, here we go. So, yeah, I suppose for me, I actually like playing Honored in Guardians and Metal Exterminators because he has the bow skill and you can keep leveling that up and you can just become so powerful. All right, how are we looking here? How is it? How is it? Okay. Okay. Save. The arms guy, that's, you know what? That's the guy, people that are just getting into the 3 down stars are messaging and saying, man, I got to the steel mill and that the dudes there are tough. And so I think it's going to be satisfying this monster that was sort of ruining your whole playthrough of the game. Now you get to be that strong monster. I think that's pretty fun. Okay, let's go ahead and make this veiny and unpleasant, why don't we? Let's make it look like a vein is coming out of here, right? Like that. There we go. Yeah, I'll make the strength up there. Let's go like this. That's it. And then maybe one back here. All right. Okay, and then a final vein right here. How about this? We'll turn off our... Oh! Oh! Oh, that looks terribly unpleasant. Oh dear. Yeah, that's unpleasant. What have I done? What have I done? I'm gonna put more veins on it. That's just unpleasant to look at, isn't it? about like a, oh, you know what would be gross? Like a branching vein, like right here too. Ew. There we go. Gross. Nice and gross. Blech. Okay, is that veiny enough? I'm kind of thinking I can put a vein like right here too. Yeah, I could. Do like a split vein. How about that? One of those Y shape. You know, like in an anime when a character gets angry and they got like that the Y vein going on. Yeah, let's make it worse. Oh, it's not nice to look at, is it? All right. Oh, yeah, nice. We'll have fun. I'll make sure I animate this pulsating. You know, give a nice pulsating feel to it. All right. Ew. Yuck. There's veins coming out of the whole part too. I really don't like that. Okay, let's go ahead and save, and then we'll add some veins to the body. You can see with the pixel art, I tried to communicate that I really did want a sense of like it's not a smooth thing. It's like a gross, um, you know, a veiny thing. If you have a look at the box art, I'll bring the box art up again. Um, yeah, you know, I put the veins on there to sort of show it's this gross thing. But in this 90s style, you can't add too much detail or it betrays the aesthetic and the philosophy of 90s cartoons. So I couldn't add too much detail into it. Um, so I thought that was just enough to you know to communicate the idea. I I would love to make this guy in 3D. I do have plans for him to appear in future titles. Um, I I can't wait to make that. This is I don't know, I don't want it to be like a spoiler for anyone, but it's just there's only a couple of us here, right? What he actually does is he like he wears he gets masks of like people and then he'll use his little hands to hold the mask on. So he'll have like he'll be wearing a human face over his normal face. So his normal face is still upside down, and then he'll be holding a little face. And so if you're out in the dark, you might see a face, and then if you shine your light on it, you'll see the face is like attached to this thing. And I'll probably have it to where if you shoot the face or you shoot the arms, he'll drop the mask. You know, he'll drop the human face mask, and then you'll just see this thing. So I'm really looking forward to this guy in future Silver Falls games. All right. All right. And there's yeah, you know when you play the games and you see characters, even like in Ghoul Busters, um, when you play as Starlin, yeah, and there's certain story segments where you talk to Bull when you're playing as Starlin, and Bull sort of mentions a few things, and this happens. I think it happens less in Undertakers, but in Three Down Stars, like you'll see characters describing monsters that don't exist in the game. Uh, so that means I'm actually hinting towards monsters that will show up in future games that we haven't seen in the series yet. And so those are things that I'm hinting towards. Okay. Nice vein right there. Zoom out a little bit. Oh, accident. Oh, see, no, I don't like that. What I've done, see how it's running parallel to that? Now it doesn't look right. It's not a good place. I was distracted drinking my coffee. All right, so you want to run towards it. We'll give it a more dynamic, organic feel. This one I'll do the Y shape. How about that? All right, just like that. And then we'll give him a little Y just there. How's that? We want it to stick out properly, don't we? Okay, and just like that. Let's turn off the wireframe. Nice. Actually, I might make that a little longer. Okay, cool. We'll get a nice thick one right here. We'll actually run it up to the top as well. How about that? We don't want the top to look, you know, too smooth, right? Okay. There we go. There's a nice, gross, thick vein right there. That one can drop down, and we can do a Y shape just there. Okay. And how's that look? Ooh, fun. Fun. Okay, we're getting there. We are getting there. All right. See, what I'll have to do when I'm rigging this guy up, when we're rigging it up, I'll have to put bones, like multiple bones. Like I'll put bones in the front, the back, the side, and then I'll have to go up a level and then bones in the back and the front and the side, different hemispheres of the guy, so I can have it throb in different ways. All right, so we'll probably, so what I will do, again, I want a perpendicular vein, because if I do like another parallel vein, it doesn't look right. It looks inorganic and dull. So I'm going to go perpendicular to it. And we want a vein up the top here, so he's not too smooth. I want it sticking up just a bit more. There we go. Ready? And let's get one going down this way. Just a nice long thin vein here. How about this? Like that. Yucko. Okay. Now that guy's got a Y shape there. Let's do another one right here. Like that. About that. Okay. We're looking okay, guys. We're looking all right. What do you guys think? Kill the wireframe. Yum. Yummy. Okay, so one thing we are going to consider as well, because we do have to do a version where he's flipped upside down, so I want to make sure I'll put extra veiny details down at the bottom as well, so we can see it. Now, I know that in future games, for example, like he wouldn't appear in 3 Down Stars, but say, for example, if you were fighting this guy in a game like 3 Down Stars, I always consider the camera angle that you will be viewing the enemy at. And you're almost always going to fight enemies head on, so you don't necessarily need to put too much detail up top, for example. So when I need to cut back the poly count, that's what I consider is what part will the player not really see that much. This is probably the back of the guy, maybe. I mean, it's hard to tell where the back is now at this point. I'll just put a vein here anyway. Just run it up the top. How about that? Zoom in just a little bit. Alright, and we'll go off to the side. Fun. We'll do a small one here. How about that? Like this. Okay, like that. Fun. Righty? Just like that. It's fantastically gross. Love it. Yeah, you know, when I start doing this guy, I'll make sure I do a stream when I'm doing this guy. I think he's just going to be so much fun doing that one. And this is, I have a very strong feeling this monster was actually described in 3 Down Stars. So even in the very earliest stages of the Silver Falls series, I I had already created the concept for this guy, but at that point when I was doing 3 Down Stars, my 3D sculpting and animating ability was still quite weak. So I thought, if I try to do this guy now, I'm not going to do a good enough job. I don't have enough experience with 3D sculpting and animating. So I thought I'd save him for a future game. And then I thought, why not, if I can make him adorable, why not have him in Ghoul Busters? So I used the idea in Ghoul Busters. All of the monsters have names, but I don't officially show the names in the games. And in general, during development, I just give them nicknames. So I think I nicknamed this guy Dangler because he dangles upside down. There are places in 3 Down Stars, if you read notes that characters have written down, they do actually describe this guy. So this guy has been seen in Silver Falls. Characters in 3 Down Stars have actually, tangled with this guy, and they describe him. And there are other places that describe it as well. I'm sure in some other games, Bull, if you talk to Bull, he actually describes these things as well. Yeah. And actually, there is one place that does actually show some of the monsters' names, and that is in the Silver Falls Compendium app, which is for Android. But I think it's unlisted from the store right now because Google keeps asking me to update the apps and do something, and I don't have time to do Android development at the moment. So yeah, little face guy, I call him a Dangler. And the reason why I don't assign names officially in the games is when you give something a name, when you know something's name, you have power over it. And it no longer becomes, or it no longer is something that you can't fully understand and you somewhat fear. I want the monsters in Silver Falls to feel a bit like you can't really ever understand what they are. And it's the only name that you can give them is a name that you have to make up yourself. So you look at it and then you just describe it and you give it a name based on your thoughts and experiences. And that's generally how I treat all monsters in Silver Falls. And in that situation, then it becomes less about having power over it because you've given it a name, but it's more about you have a weird personal relationship with that monster because you're just trying to describe it in some way, using your own thoughts and experiences. And I think it's a way to engage with the monsters that I've not seen in other games that I really like. Yeah, the Compendium app did have the names, yeah. And that's why in Guardians and Metal Exterminators, it doesn't show actual monster names except for the Metal Exterminator, which is, technically, that is, well, all names are made up, But for all the other monsters that are playable in Guardians and Metal Exterminators, is sort of a quotation, so it's just a nickname that someone thought up, for these things, but they're not the official names. Okay, so what we'll do is use the reduce brush now. Yeah, oh, Jason, yeah, you have all kinds of, you have all kinds of names for my favorites. It's more fun to make it my own. Yeah, and much of that idea comes from, I think a lot of us that are hanging out here, I think a lot of us grew up in a similar era where maybe if you didn't have the instruction manual, you wouldn't know what a monster was called. And you play a Nintendo or Super Nintendo or a Genesis game, and you see this pixely thing, and you have to describe it. You can only call it the way you can describe it. And so coming up with names with my siblings and my friends, we look at that and you go like, what is that, a top hat chicken? We're getting shot at by a top hat chicken with a bazooka. Okay. And we ended up developing this a more fun attachment to the monsters. And so that's where I got the inspiration for dealing with the Silver Falls monsters that way. Okay, I'm just going to use the reduce brush now so that the poly count doesn't cause the game to crash. I actually do want a very high poly count for this guy because right now I just want to pre-render this guy and want him to look very cool. Again, I'm doing this model specifically for Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers. But wouldn't it be cool if I did like a Ghoul Busters HD? You know, I've already got one of the monsters ready. I'm not saying I am doing that, you know, but it would be cool in a future game, like say when I do, like eventually I'll do 3 Down Stars, you know, HD. What if you did Code Linker with Ghoul Busters, and then there was a chapter where you played as young Atticus and Starlin, and you know, but it was in the style of 3 Down Stars gameplay, and then you had to fight a bunch of monsters. Wouldn't that be cool, you know? I mean, I'm not saying that's what I'm working on, but that's the sort of thing I think of with Code Linker, is I think what would be so exciting for people, you know, what would be so cool that they wouldn't expect to happen, but once it happens, it makes sense, and they think, oh yeah, if you mix one game with the gameplay of another style, it's reasonable that you would get something like that. And those are things that I consider. And of course I look at, you know, what I have time for in development. And once the series is selling well enough to really support itself, then I would have more time to create modes like that. As it stands, I generally have to make these games quite quickly. You know, I work furiously because at the moment it's paycheck to paycheck. When I launch a game, the studio, you know, will get some money in, but I have to keep getting more games out in order to support the studio. Oh my God! Thank you, Tim. Save first. Oh, thank you. I hadn't even saved for a while. I don't know if I ever shared this experience with anyone on stream. Maybe I've brought it up, but I was traumatized with Final Fantasy Tactics years ago. Hi Juan, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for joining the stream. I'll show you what we're working on. I'll turn the wireframe off here. We're working on, this is what we've got right now. Yeah, we've got this fun guy. Thanks for joining the stream, Juan. And we're working on this. So we're doing a 3D model for this guy. We're going to even out the veins a little bit. And we're doing multiple versions of this guy. So we're making our base balloon. We'll have the upside down version that spits stuff. We'll have the spiky version, and I might do a claw machine version as well. There we go. All right. Ah, the skull kid on a stick. I had to create that because I needed enemies in 3 Down Stars that shoot projectiles. You know, otherwise if you have a good weapon setup in 3 Down Stars, you eventually towards the end of the game you have a much easier time dealing with enemies. So I really needed a projectile enemy in 3 Down Stars, but I didn't want one that could move. You know, it was at that point it would become a bit too disorienting because I knew there were situations where multiple enemy types could appear. So if you had a moving enemy, enemies move pretty quickly in 3 Down Stars. You know, in general, they're kind of designed to flank you, because I wanted them to feel like they're unpredictable wild animals. So in general, the monsters in 3 Down Stars try to get around you, so it's difficult to aim at them. And if you had an enemy that was shooting at you while flanking you, I thought would not be very fun to deal with. And that's why the projectile enemies generally don't move. And it's only in Frontier Fighters you get those raw chickens. And in Frontier Fighters, the raw chickens will do that. There is one section, I think Annalise has to deal with one raw chicken that can shoot at her. And that's just meant to sort of ramp up the difficulty. But that's like one spot where that occurs. So right now, oh, it's like a monster hemorrhoid. Yeah, actually he will be dripping blood. You know, I actually wanted, in Ghoul Busters, I did want particle effects of blood dripping out of his dangler. But I didn't trust Unity. I didn't trust Unity to not leak memory from having so many particle effects, because there are sections where you could have many enemies on screen, and the extra game mode that I'm adding to Ghoul Busters in an update is called Frontier Busters, and that is going to be like maybe 15, 20 enemies on screen. I don't know. I'm still seeing how much I can stress the console on original hardware. And if all of them have particle effects where blood's coming out, probably Unity would just die right there. But in the modern games, with the more modern graphics where this guy is appearing, yeah, he'll be dripping blood and whatnot. I think my dog wants to come in and hang out with me. If you guys don't mind for a second, I'm just going to open my office door. I think my dog wants to hang out. Sorry, 2 seconds here. Yeah, my dog wants to hang out. Just sweet. Hello, my dog. What would you like? What can I get you? All right, well, you can stay there. All right. Go back to my seat here. Hello, everyone. I'm returning. My dog wants to watch me while I do my sculpting. I hope he doesn't try to jump up onto the seat with me. It would be awesome if he can leave a blood trace wherever he walks. Very cool idea, Juan. That's really cool. Actually, you know what? I might implement that. That sounds really cool. Yeah. Oh, Tim. Yeah. Oh. So years ago, when I lived in California. Gambit. Gambit, where's Logan? Gambit's barking at Logan. Oh, all my dogs their names are X-Men themed, so I have Gambit and Logan. Oh yeah, so Final Fantasy Tactics, this must have been in the late 90s. Yes, California had rolling, I don't know if they called them brownouts. There was one summer where they kept getting more and more blackouts or brownouts, whatever the technical term is. I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and I wasn't very good at the game. I was just like early teens, I think. And I died on a boss probably 3 times. And then so finally, I just grinded a bunch. I leveled up some skills and characters. I bought new weapons. And then I just brute forced my way through this boss fight. It was such a struggle. I think I spent like 2.5 hours on this boss fight. It was horrendous. I finally beat the boss, and I was right there where it said, "Do you want to save?" or whatever. And I said no, and I thought, I'll buy the weapons that I want to get first. I'll do my skills, and then I'll save. And then wouldn't you know it, I did my skills, and then right when I got back to the save screen, there was a blackout. And so I lost like 3 hours of progress, and that changed me as a person, because since then on I oversave. I'll save like twice. Like when I'm playing Pokemon, for no reason, I'll save the game, and then I'll save it a second time, and I don't know why. I know that it doesn't do anything. Gambit, I don't know if Logan's taken Gambit's couch spot or. Your cat has been hanging out watching the stream with me too. she likes the mouse cursor. That's adorable. Yeah, you know, I think we all have horror stories when it comes to save files. I was chatting with someone earlier, and they said that their 3DS SD card died, and I'm kind of thinking like, don't even say that to me. I don't want to hear that. That's a nightmare. Can you imagine all the games that you've downloaded and all of your save progress for all your games disappearing on one SD card? I said my reaction to that, I said I think I'd walk outside, I'd lay down on the grass, and then I'd just stare up at the sky for a day or two, because how do you respond to your memory card, your SD card dying inside your 3DS? Ah, I've saved my progress. Tim reminded me. Whew. I'll turn this up. I actually really like this track. I had such fun writing the soundtrack for Guardians Metal Exterminators. I think my dog's done barking. You know what? It was probably... He stopped barking. It was probably just a ghost or something. But then the ghost probably realized I'm streaming in a different room. He doesn't have the ectoplasmic energy to get to this room, so the ghost gave up, I think. Okay. See, I'm right now I'm still just using the reduce brush so that the game engine would and the hardware can handle it if you have too many triangles, of course. What's the deal with PlayStation 5? I haven't even played one in person. Does that actually have unlimited polygons, or was that a lie? Does anyone out there have a PlayStation 5 to confirm that it does have unlimited polygons? Again, this guy needs to run on the Switch, so I need to make sure he doesn't have too many polygons, of course. But if you take too much detail out, you won't get to see your throbbing veins, and I want to make sure it's upsetting to look at. Okay, we'll reduce some polygons here as well. So you can reduce polygons to a certain amount, and it to a certain extent, it won't even be noticeable to the player that there's less polygons. It's when you get very close that it becomes noticeable. Ew, look how veiny that is. I might have lost a little too much definition on my veins. I'm going to undo that, and then I'll just leave that there. I'd like that to be a bit more defined. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I'm done. I'm done reducing stuff for now. Let's just figure out where else we need more detail. And do we need to change any? Oh wait, right. We better get this part. Oh, my chat. I've minimized the chat. I'll bring that back up. Happened to your nephew. He spent 100+ hours on Monster Hunter. Oh no! No! Yeah. So part of my business, it was more IT support that I'd done years ago, and I would generally only do IT support for older people that had a tough time with IT, and I saw them getting ripped off by IT companies that would come in and like do like 5 minutes of work and then charge them $400, and I think that's morally bankrupt, and I really didn't like that. So I started doing my own IT support for older people, just so I could undercut those corrupt companies. And for $40, I would come in, even if it took me like 3 or 4 hours. I'd fix whatever computer, phone thing people needed. And there's this older fellow that I was helping on his computer once, and he was moving stuff from an old computer onto a new one, and he had solitaire. He had a bunch of like high scores from solitaire, and then there was no way to get the scores off his old computer and put it onto his new one. And he said, "No, my save, my high score saves." And I thought, man, you're just like a young person reacting to losing your save data in a game, you know, because for him, his solitaire high scores were his save data, and he was absolutely gutted. And so he said, "Oh, I think I'll keep my old computer here just so I can still use the solitaire on that and use, have my high score there." So you know what? It's not, it's not exclusive to just, younger gamers and whatnot. Even when you're a bit older and the only game you play is solitaire, you've still got save data, and you still feel the same pain when you can't have your save data. But it's not a totally sad story. I made sure his old computer was still functional, so he could still use it for solitaire. I installed a new solitaire on his new computer, but I couldn't get the same version of solitaire, and I couldn't get the same save data across. But it's not the worst, you know, not the worst ending to that story. All right, okay. And then there's another step that I do when it comes to reduction. So this is, I would consider this pretty high poly count, right? So I don't know if Nintendo does like a Switch 2 sometime soon. I'll have a very high poly count version I can use. But generally, this is like I've got 30,000 triangles. This is pretty good. So what I will do is when I am rigging it up and it's all rigged up, I can lower the poly count even further universally. So I'll save the poly count for that now. So what I want to do is just I want to smooth out the ends of the veins so it looks like the veins attach to the body a bit better. How about that? There we go. That way it doesn't look like they're just like tubes on Mars or something. Let me know if the music, I better check my music level. Let me see what it's at here. If it's too loud, just let me know. I wonder if it's European laws or Nintendo of Europe's internal policies that stop games approved by Nintendo of America from getting fast-tracked to the European market. I don't know what happened. If I did know that, I wouldn't be allowed to discuss it anyway, but the people in Europe, Nintendo did a massive amount of work for these games. You know, it's not that they saying Nintendo doesn't care about the gamers is totally incorrect. Especially in Europe, you know, like we got so close to the finish line, and we got there because the people working at Nintendo, you can tell they care about the fans because of the amount of work they put in. And it's, you know, it's a business, you know, and there are a lot of moving parts to a business. A business is a complex machine, and I guess there are things that changed that we just didn't have control over. But Nintendo of Europe really did try to help get these games launched. We got so close. I'm gonna look at my veins here, make sure my veins look good. All right, so this one I want it to look like it attaches a bit better, so I'll reduce the polygons there. All right, is this veiny enough for you guys? You guys got enough veins here? Oh, I do. Oh, I like that very much. Now just imagine these pulsating and ew. Oh, when you sort of look at the whole thing, it's just not a nice ensemble, is it? It's pretty gross looking. I just want to make sure it's fat enough. You know, you sort of compare it to this guy. I'm going to make the dangler a little fatter, right? You sort of look at the artwork here. And you look at the scale. I do want the dangler to be very pronounced. All right, Lunar Nights. That will be me. I will be an old gamer. I'm 40 now and still love gaming every day. Yeah, you know, it's the stuff that we grew up with. We're just going to enjoy it, you know, for however long we're alive. But I don't know what sort of save backups we'll have in the future. You know, we have cloud saves now. You know what I love? When I see a game that has cloud version written on it, this is just like a me personal thing. I like imagining that it's the same game, but they've added Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, and so now Cloud is the protagonist. And then I like to imagine Resident Evil 7 Cloud version, and I think it would have been a cakewalk. I think Cloud would have gone into that house with his Buster sword, and he would have just given the Baker family the business. He would have given him a good old Buster chop, I think. All right, let's go ahead and inflate our dangler just a little bit more. Oh, gross, it looks swollen. Oh, it looks swollen. Oh, no. Oh, ew. Oh. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the grab tool. We want to make sure that the dangler spigot, I want to make sure this has the most presence. It should be quite fat. As you can see, it has the most physical presence there. It is the fattest part of the dangler, so let's go ahead and make sure. We've got a nice bell end here. Is a weird thing to say. I'll have to use the reduce brush again as I've added polygons onto that. Okay. Gross. I'm pretty happy with this. What do you guys think of this? So this is quite round, so it does have an inflated look. I can have the whole thing pulsating. I think the dangler is fat enough now. What I want to do is just inflate the bottom part of it just a little bit more, right? So we'll just use our grab tool, and we will make the bottom part just a little bit rounder now. I want to get my wireframe on. Any chance of skeleton rigging stream for this guide? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I could do that. It's generally, I've not done that on stream before because it's kind of boring. It's just not like this. This is more fun and engaging, you know, because we can see things happening. But rigging is either, you know, you've got something humanoid and you can do it pretty quickly, or it's something that it's so frustrating. And part of it has to do, like, you put the bones in there, you tell it to rig, and then, you know, like, a bone up here for some reason is affecting a part down here, so you paint that out, but now it stops affecting a part of it. It's not a fun process. Just get it rounder at the bottom. So I'll get it rounder, and I want to pull that section in again, because that's inflated a little bit more than I would like. But we also need to make sure that we make it clear this top part is the fattest, most inflated part. So we'll bring that in a little. Okay, and this section is where it's in a little bit. Okay. All right, just a little bit more. Oh, okay. And, oops. Okay, that's, yeah. All right, now what I will do is pull that intersection just a little bit, and then we'll have to go through it with the reduce brush again. Let me just close my office door that my dogs have settled. I'll be back in a second. All right, my coffee must have gone cold. I guarantee someone who doesn't play games at all is at fault. Some corporate jerk who only cares about the money. Yeah, you know, businesses are tough because businesses have passionate people who really care about what they're doing. And of course you're going to have, you know, your corporate types that are at the top. So the best thing you can do is just do the best that you can, you know? All right. Whoa, you know what would be rad? It'd be rad to run this guy through a 3D printer. I've got a 3D printer, not a super fancy one, you know, sort of like a hobbyist entry-level printer. But I was just thinking, it'd be cool to have some of these monsters 3D printed. I've seen those websites where you can sort of, you know, like get custom figures printed for tabletop things. I wonder if I could get like custom figures printed for Silver Falls. That would be pretty cool. Hold on. Something's gone funny here. Try the grab tool again. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so before we do the reduce, we want to bring these things in again. It's gone kind of. I might unplug the tablet and plug it back in. It's gone a little funny and unresponsive. I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what I should do? I should add a vein that connects to this little fleshy lip part. Yeah, that would be gross. What's happening here? Okay, it's gone a little funny, hasn't it? We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. I think I might make the fleshy lips. I might grab them and pull them again. Just imagine the poor souls in Ubisoft. I bet they loved making games and then lost their passion. It sucks. It sucks seeing there are studios out there that I have immense respect for, because you can tell the people that are making the games, they love the games that they're making and they just want to make something cool for people. And you can see, you know, the executives in the studio just destroying everything. And it sucks, because the people that are making those business decisions, they're causing their own business to fail. If they did nothing, their business would be much better off. It's quite frustrating, isn't it? You know, and that's what that's part of what we deal with as gamers, I suppose. Okay, so I want to make sure that I don't really like that shape. I'm just going to change that shape a little bit, I think, maybe. Oh, it's gone a little... I might restart Sculptress. Maybe that'll fix it. Just gone a little funny, hasn't it? Maybe that's... Okay. So you can see we were around 30,000. I want to get back to 30,000 triangles again. I'm just going to restart Sculptress. How about that? It's gone a little funny. Sculptress. Oh, you've wanted a 3D printer for a long time. That sounds very cool. We have a shop here in Australia called Aldi, and it seems like they're just like a grocery store. You know, you go there to get groceries, but then one day they'll just have they'll have weekly specials. So suddenly you'll have scuba diving equipment, you know, and it's like, oh, I came here to get milk, but I guess I did need a new scuba diving tank. And then one day they had a 3D printer. So I thought, well, I just needed some crackers and cheese and some dip. But I suppose I could pick up a 3D printer as well while I'm here. So it's pretty cool having Aldi here in Australia. I believe they are from Germany. I just want to extend these lips a little bit. I'll unplug. No, wait, I'll wait. I don't know. Sometimes it goes funny. It just went laggy all of a sudden. That's better now. Okay. Hold on. I don't want to grab the inside. That's the difficulty. See, I just want to grab the outside. What if I zoom in real good? I want it to have this, you know, sort of unpleasant melty look. You know what I mean? I think I'll have to go inside, and then I'll move the inside of the dangler up a bit after I go around and do this part. There we go. Okay, there we go. That seems right to me. And I might use the inflate tool just on the outside of the lips, just so it looks swollen. You know, like it's got inflammation, which is, oh, that's already unpleasant to think about. Okay. Okay. What type of sauce do you like with a sausage sizzle? 100% barbecue. Lay it on me. Don't even bother closing the barbecue lid. Leave it open, because I'm gonna maximum barbecue sauce for me. How about you, Brennan? What do you have on your sausage sizzle? Put onion on there. Put extra onion. I'll have barbecue on that. Oh yeah, I better be careful with that part. I could mess up those polygons if I'm not careful. I don't think I need to bring that up anymore. I think that's fine. I do need to fix this part. This part got a little messed up. Uh-oh. Alright, I'm gonna run the reduce and then smooth. I have to be careful I don't... Uh-oh. I accidentally reduced the whole model. Let's undo that. We want reduce brush. Okay. What's a sausage sizzle? Oh, it's just like a... It's not exactly a hot dog. It's a sausage in a hot dog bun. That's what we call it here in Australia. But it's like, in terms of texture and taste, it's not really the same thing as a hot dog. A hot dog in the States, you know, you don't know what meat is in there, you know, and it has a very particular consistency. The sausage in Australia just has a very different consistency. I wouldn't say they're even the same food product because they're so different. You gotta go. The phone's almost dead. Ah, Lunanites, it was awesome hanging out. Well, take it easy. Take care. We'll catch you again soon. We'll see you in the Discord. I'll put the link to the Discord if anyone wants to hang out in the Discord. We're usually chatting about games in there, so yeah, feel free to go to the Discord and hang out there. I think I'm going to run the... I want veins leading up to the lip here. I'll have to go over this more carefully with the reduce brush later on. I'll do more reduce later. I don't want to bore you to death here. You know what I found at Woolies? I don't know if there's any other Aussies out there. We have Woolworths. We call it Woolies. Which sounds like a place where you go to get a good winter sweater, I guess. But you know, on sushi they have that nice dark sauce. I never knew what it was called. And I was at Woolies the other day, and I saw a bottle for something called tonkatsu sauce. So I bought it, and that's the delicious brown sauce that's on sushi. So I've been putting that on everything lately. So yeah, you know what? If I were to have a sausage sizzle right now, I'd put some of that tonkatsu sauce on there. See you, Lunanites. Yeah, 100%. BBQ and onion, nice. Brennan knows what's going on. There we go. In the States, so in the States, you have Home Depot, which would be the equivalent of what we call Bunnings here. Bunnings is our Home Depot, and often on a weekend, on a Sunday or whatever, you'll have a sausage sizzle. It's called a sausage sizzle that side of Bunnings. So there'll be people outside that are just barbecuing up sausages and put it in a bun, put some onion, barbecue sauce. So you go to pick up like a 2x4 and some screws, and you get lunch on the way in, and it just smells so good the whole way in. And the sausages that they serve at a sausage sizzle, they're a couple steps above hot dogs in terms of quality. So imagine going to a Bunnings, and you have to go through a barbecue in order to get into the Bunnings. Yeah, you can think of it like that. All right, let's have a look here. So we're at 50,000. I think if we can get around 30. That's pretty good in terms of reducing. I don't know if I want to inflate the little... No, I'm actually happy with that. I'm looking at that. I'm pretty happy with it. It's always hard to tell until you turn the wireframe off, you know exactly what you're going to get. That's nice and thick. Okay. So I have to be careful not to reduce the detail on my veins because I've already done one pass with the reduce brush, so I don't want to end up ruining the detail on my veins. Oh look, we're already at 41. Cool. We're pretty close to where we want to be in terms of the poly count. And again, like I said, when I'm rigging it up and doing the final version that goes into the game, I can do a global reduction on poly count as well. But in terms of shape and geometry, I'm happy with that, but I think I do want to inflate my fleshy lips down at the bottom. So I will do that next. All right, we're close to 30,000. Nice. Excuse me. Nice. Okay, we're pretty close to where we started before we started making it rounder again. My veins! Oh, I've lost my vein detail. Ah, oh well. I'll leave that. It's not a big deal. Okay, now, I just want to carefully... Here's the difficult part. Like, I don't want to end up inflating the inside. You know what I mean? Just try and make this really thin. See, it's inflating the inside. It's adding poly count in there. It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough. See, it's going inside. Shoot fire. Okay, what if I just make this real small, like? No, that's going to be tough. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave it. All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and save a variant now. I'm going to say that's good enough. We've done it. We've done it, everyone. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. What do you guys think of that? Are you happy with that? You got enough visible veins there. Shoot, yeah. So, how long have we had on the stream so far? Yeah, it's about an hour and 45. We've taken this pixel art, the idea of that monster, and we've created something that we can now use in the games. It wouldn't take long to rig something up like this because he doesn't need to have a complex walking animation, which is usually very time-consuming. Yeah, thanks, Tim. So let's go ahead and create the fat version of this guy now. So we are going to modify him. Let's zoom out a bit. And let's make... Oh yeah, there's this chunky guy, this chunker right there. We're gonna make this fat version. This is a fat balloon, I guess. So you can see his dangler is thicker, it's shorter, and he's got some extra tendrils out the side. And again, this is the guy that's on the box art. Well, that's fun. Okay, let's go ahead and we will save as. Again, these are just, they're not official names, they're just nicknames, aren't they? We're going Fat Balloon. Brendan, right, so this game is for our upcoming 3DS and Wii U game. So this is for Silver Falls Gaiden. On the 3DS, it's called Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers. And on the Wii U, it's just Gaiden. And on the 3DS, it's going to be pre-rendered, which is why I want to make a very high-quality version of the monster. And then on the Wii U, I'm going to reduce the poly count so we can handle more characters on screen. Okay, so now we've got Fat Balloon, right? So let's go ahead and... He's kind of... His top is a bit swollen, isn't it? So the first thing we'll do is use the Inflate tool. Yeah, like that, okay. Like this, just a bit more, right? Let's watch what happens. Let's watch some magic here. Like that. Yeah, he's getting more swollen now. He's a bit more lopsided. There we go. That's the sort of swollen look that we want. Oh, he doesn't look right. He's not doing so well. He's not feeling so good, Mr. Stark. Oh yeah, see now it looks like he has problems, doesn't it? He's... Okay. Now what we want to do is shorten his dangler. Alex, can you make a monster similar to Silent Hill? I don't think I personally can. For me, because I'm not the Silent Hill developer. The people that made Silent Hill, they fully understand their own design philosophy. They understand their intention with the monsters, and so really the Silent Hill developers are the only people that could make Silent Hill monsters. I'm sure you could try to make a monster that looks like it could be a Silent Hill monster, but at the end of the day, it would end up just being a monster that you created, you know, and it would be influenced by your own life experiences and your style as an artist. So if I were to try to create a Silent Hill monster, I don't think I would do a very good job. Okay, so we're going to smoothen out his thing here. But I love Silent Hill. I'm a massive Silent Hill fan, but I've never done anything like for example, like fan art in terms of like, I want to make my own Silent Hill monster, and I've been playing Silent Hill since I was a kid. Um, yeah, I've never sort of drawn, uh, you know, sort of, I think this would be a cool Silent Hill monster. I've never done that. Okay, so we smoothen this out, and we want his dangler to just be chunky, a real chunky dangler. There we go. That's it. What disappointed me with Silent Hill Downpour was the monster design. They didn't feel like monsters. They just looked like people in straitjackets. And so that's for Downpour. That really disappointed me because like you guys, I love the monster designs in Silent Hill. I like how creepy, unsettling, and weird they are. So the fact that the monster designs in Downpour, it was something that it's easy for you to wrap your head around. You can understand it. It's like, oh, it's woman with claws or man in a straitjacket. It just wasn't scary at all. It didn't have the charm of Silent Hill monsters. Like you have we have funny relationships with Silent Hill monsters because we don't want to have to deal with them. You know, they can make us get a game over, but at the same time, they're charismatic in a way to where we like the monsters. So it's an interesting relationship that we have with Silent Hill monsters. I think it's pretty funny. Yep, this guy's real thick. There we go. Okay. Oh, too much. Whoa, this guy's so thick. You like it better? Yeah, overall, I like Downpour much more than Homecoming. Just the overall design of the town in Downpour, I think it was done well in terms of how they presented the environments. I think it's just so pleasant to look at in terms of how they structured things, the amount of detail that's in the environments. It just feels like they didn't have enough time to make interesting monsters in Downpour. But Homecoming, I don't know. Homecoming, it felt like a Western studio trying to copy Silent Hill, you know? I still enjoyed it. I didn't play all the way through Homecoming, but I enjoyed what I played of it. But, I mean, if you were to put any of the first 4 Silent Hill, and even Origins, if you were to put that in front of me and then put Homecoming, I'd go for any of those before I go for Homecoming. Okay, and then I might, let's go ahead and, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna smoothen that out a little bit. And then we might give him some fresh veins, how about that? So let's smooth it. No, that's not what I wanted. Put our wireframe back on, and smooth. Let's go ahead and save. There we go. Yeah, I think Origins started in Europe, right? And then it got handed over to a studio in North America, I think. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that off the top of my head. And then Homecoming was that a Western developer? And then Downpour was European. And Homecoming was North America, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I just want to smooth out these polygons. See, they're pinched a bit because it knows that it came from like a different shape and it's getting pinched a little. So let's go ahead and, all right. Yeah, that's looking real chunky, all right. So you can tell it's just proportionately very different from the other balloon, which is good. So if you were, say for example, if this was in 3 down stars and you were to see it from a distance, you would know that you have to deal with this one differently than the other balloon because it has a different outline to the shape. the worst thing you could do is make two enemies that look very similar that you have to deal with in different ways. That's one of the worst things you could do, because it's not fair to the player to create a situation where they have to deal with enemies a certain way, but you don't make it visually clear what enemy that is, you know, and what they have to deal with. Oh, let's go ahead and undo that. I don't want clay mode. Let's go ahead and let's remove clay. Clay has that sort of flat top look to it. Alrighty, just like that. Okay, we got one vein there. And then let's go ahead and put some veins here like this. I'll do a Y-shaped vein on this guy's dangler. How about that? Right. And the thing with Silver Falls monsters is every single one of them, I write a reason and lore why that creature exists. So there's no monsters in Silver Falls where it's just there because I want to make something cool and scary. There's an absolute reason for those things to exist. And when I do that, I can also write characters. Generally, you'll find characters are usually, in terms of lore and story, they get attached story-wise to certain monsters. You know, for example, Bull has the Undertakers, and what launched yesterday was Guardians and Metal Exterminators. So the Metal Exterminators are attached to Oxa and Gold, and that it's an opportunity to make these things more interesting than they otherwise would be. And I don't always put the lore and the reasoning of why the monsters exist. It's very rare that I actually put that in the game for you to see. But as long as it's there for me to know as a developer, I can still make sure that there's continuity and everything makes sense. And it's just more satisfying to have these weird things in the universe if they're written and presented in a way that it feels like there's a reason for them to be there. RoboCoop, how's it going? Thanks for joining the stream. How good to see you. You'd like to see a modeled Undertaker? Oh yeah, we have a stream where I actually modeled the Undertakers in 3D. If I can, I might go and try and find the model, and I can open that up for you. I'm a bit wary of opening my project files while I'm on stream because there would be massive spoilers if people saw the project names that are in my projects folder, so that's why I can't really navigate and find that file just at this moment. But I do have a one of our last live streams, or I think that the previous live stream we did making monsters was the Undertakers. And those models are used in Undertakers for Wii U. Okay, I think I'm just looking, I just want veins. Okay, probably needs one down here, doesn't he? Like this. Okay, I wonder if that's enough. Okay, let's he needs one here, doesn't he? Yeah. Go up like that. There we go. Nice. Nice. Well, I don't really like how parallel those two are. I don't really... It starts to look like a spiral candy cane, doesn't it? Let's keep them distanced from each other like that. Okay, I think that should be all right. What do you guys think? All right, let's kill the wireframe. Oh, yuck. Oh, yuck. I don't like that at all. Okay, it's looking a little bare right here, so I'll add a vein here. Okay, and then we will want to... Well, it went to clay mode. I'm not sure why. Let's undo that, take the clay out, and then just go in like this. There we go. you think it'll look better if the veins look like they're connected? Well, it could do. You know, sometimes I'll sort of follow it logically and then have one farther down. But at this point, like, this is moving so much and it's so animated. It's not something that people will see up close, especially since I reduced the poly count, because I know that at the end of the day, it's going to end up looking more like that. You know, because it won't remain that defined of it. Do you mean sort of like if that bit looked like it was going to connect down there? All right, so what I'll do is I'll start my reduce brush now. Yes, RoboCoop. If you're just joining, we are modeling these fun balloons. Fun balloons. So we've modeled the base version. We finished that guy, and now we are moving on to the chunky version. Where's the chunky version? Where is he? So now we're working on this guy. And the chunky version is this one here. So he's got extra danglers. So I'll do the reduce in a little bit. I'll do that later. Let's just give him his extra danglers real quick. How about that? I don't know which part is the front. I've lost track. Let's just find what looks good in terms of the front. Okay, I'm kind of thinking I like this. I think that should be the front. Okay, let's give him some extra danglers. Yep, the old bladder with arms. One of those kind of bladders. Wireframe. It was actually, when I was designing the Metal Exterminators for Guardians and Metal Exterminators, which launched yesterday, it was tough because I wanted to do all the animated tentacles and everything. I wanted physics animations on the tentacles, but on the 3DS, that's quite demanding. So I originally created the Exterminators in this very high poly count way, as you can see. And at first I thought, I'll make it as detailed as I want, and then I'll add on to it, or I'll reduce it later. It was a challenge reducing the Exterminators to get them to run well on Guardians and Metal Exterminators. I eventually, you know, got them working well enough, but shoot, that was a challenge. More dangly bits, please. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, this is totally asymmetrical. Okay, so let's see. We're looking at the scale. I probably don't want it much longer than that. I might grab that and bring it out a little bit more, but I'm thinking that's fine. I think one should be higher than the other, and maybe I'll carve some extra veins and make it look like they culminate in this one here. So this dangler I'll have higher up, and that should make it more unsettling to look at and think about. And then when we do these spiky ones, that'll be easy. I'll use the base version. I'll just shrink his dangler a little bit. I'll give him some spikes. So that's something that I can manage in Engine. That's much easier. The name of the modeling software is Sculptress. It's pretty old. It's a few years old, but you can grab it for free. The company makes new software that's more feature-rich. It has more things to help you work faster, do more advanced things with modeling. But I quite like Sculptress, and it's free. It's 100% compatible with tablets, drawing tablets as well, which is... I would never use this without a drawing tablet. I just really enjoyed the precision that you get. Yeah, Yeah, just go to Google, type in Sculptress. I try to get you a link, but I'm tied up trying to get my danglers all sculpted out. You can use a mouse with it as well. It's not a big deal. Oh, I thought my heater was on, but it just turns out my studio lights are very warm. Yeah, there's our wonky boy. There he is. There's our beautiful balloon boy. What a nice chunky boy. Okay. This is our beautiful boy. Hold me, father. Hold me. Do you not love me, father? Hold me. There's a little arms. You can give him a hug. All right. So what I want to do again, I won't do the lips here. It's going to end up. You know how this one has lips. I won't do that here. It's going to result in a bit too many polygons for something that doesn't super matter. You really should focus your poly count on things that matter. Where's my inflate tool? But what I will do is I'll connect it to the veins. You see how he's got veins there? So I'll make it look like they're extensions of the veins. Yep, nice and chunky. So you can see I ended up giving a bunch of polygons where I don't want them. You can see in the pixel art, they don't serve any particular function, but if you look at the... Oh, my box art disappeared. I closed the box art. The box art showed that there were holes in those extra bits as well. I'm going to leave that off because it would result in, again, more triangles, more polygons where I really don't need them. I'll flatten the tips, how about that? But I won't carve them in. It's just going to result in, you know... Hold me, father, do you not love me? You know what's gross is when they're bulbous at the end? I think that's kind of... Ooh. Yeah, that's kind of gross. Yeah, if you guys want to try Sculptress, it's free. You can just grab it, and it's not that hard to use, really. It's pretty fun, and you can make whenever. In general, symmetry mode is normally turned on from the start, so you can just sculpt one side and it will be symmetrical. But for monsters, especially this guy, I wanted symmetry off. Yes, vestigial limbs. That's kind of one of the visual themes with a few of the Silver Falls monsters is a vestigial limb that shouldn't be there anymore. Why is that still there? There's some. If you look at the sort of the desert dog, whatever that thing is, the tripod from episode Prelude. There's a very fine detail where, if you look really closely, he does have vestigial limbs on him. And it's sort of, you can see his skeleton popping out, and you can see little arms that are still stuck into his body, and they are actually animated in their own particular way. So if you are able to sort of view them in good enough light. I did the thing that I said I wasn't going to do, because I thought it would be more gross. Yeah, if they're sort of... if it has that indent in the end. Holes in nature are really, like, unpleasant. So that's why I did it. I'm not doing this in a good way. I haven't saved in a while. What have I done? Uh-oh, I did something. Oh, okay. Hopefully nothing's broken. Something's broken. Uh-oh, something's not working right here. Oh, I switched tools by accident. My bad. There we go, that's what I want. I just want to make it like an indent, right? Okay, I want to smooth his... I'm using the grab tool here. I want to smooth his little bits down at the end. Let's go ahead and use our smooth tool now. Where is it? Draw smooth, there we go. And then we'll inflate that. How about that? There we go. So we can smooth this little blowholes. We'll call those little blowholes. How about that? Are those arms going to chase us, or is it gonna remain stationary. These will be animated. They'll be moved. These in general will be used in the modern games now that will run on the more modern consoles. So these little bits are going to be physics animated, so they'll just dangle around all over the place. All right, and I'll cut down the poly count in there as much as I can. Go back to my smooth tool here. As smooth as I can, and then I will inflate just the outsides here. So go ahead and smooth that, and we'll put a couple veins on it as well. So let's go ahead and inflate. There we go. And it's when you need to perform sculpting and actions like that where it's very nice to have the tablet. With a mouse, that would be much more difficult. I'm actually going to hold the Alt tool. If you hold Alt, it reverses the tool that you're using. So instead of inflate, it would deflate. And so I want to deflate that part so it has sort of a lip to it, which is a detail that I think is just sort of unsettling to look at the end of an appendage, you know. Let's see here. Okay. All right, cool. And it looks a bit suctiony as well, which is also unpleasant because you don't want to have to think about why it wants to suction you and what its plans are if it has a suction cup type thing. All right. This is already a bit chunky down here, which is nice. So let's go ahead and run around that. I'm holding the Alt key using the inflate tool. So Alt reverses the tool's effect, so it's deflating. I can get this nice sort of thing here, and then we can reduce this later as well. Okay, we're looking good. This is a nice boy. Yes, this is a nice boy. So when we animate this guy, his dangler will be pointed forward, of course, so he can spew at you. This is the one that shoots out a stream of goo. In Ghoul Busters, sometimes he'll spray into the foreground and the background, and that's a fun challenge as well. So we're almost finished up with this guy. I'll just get a couple more details in here. Ah, my coffee has gone cold. Fantastic. Now we've gone back to the draw tool, and what we'll do now is make sure it looks like this is organically connected to our creature in some way. So we'll go ahead and do this here. We'll connect it to the veins, and that will help it organically make a little more sense and feel a little more tangible. Okay, just like that. There we go. And then what I will do is branch out the bottom here so it looks like it connects down here as well. And then, like so. Just like that. Fantastic. I need to be careful about pinching my polygons here. You can see I could really mess that up if I'm not careful. So I'll avoid putting any more pinched polygons in there. And I think this will be okay. What I want to do is make, I'll give the sausaging effect. It's a bit too cylindrical right now. So what I will do is just make it thinner in some parts, so it has a more organic look to it. Oh, too much. I'm being very silly. I should have just used the inflate tool in reverse. So I'll undo a couple steps. That'll help us maintain a more organic look to it. I shall use the inflate tool. I'm going to save Control S, of course. And I'll increase the brush size. I will hold Alt and then we'll see the effect. I hold Alt. There you go. There you go. Okay, okay. That's looking... I'm pretty happy with that. What do you guys think? I mean, do you like this thick boy? He's a very thick boy. Alt. Okay. Hold me, father, hold me. Okay, and we want this dangler to attach to these vanes here as well. So, we have our draw tool. We're almost done with this thick boy. The only modeling software I spent any significant amount of time using was called Milkshake 3D. I used Milkshake 3D. Milkshake 3D. I did use that years ago. It was made for doing Half-Life models back in the early 2000s. Wow, I didn't know they used them for Half-Life. Yeah, I think that was, outside of like Lightwave, I think that was one of the first ones that I used other than Lightwave. Okay, fantastic. I'm very happy with that. If I hold Alt, you can see it sort of pushes in a bit as well. So I want it to have sort of like it's attached by tendons, you know? And that's a look that you can get with that as well. So again, I'm using the draw tool right now and I'm holding Alt, and then it sort of pushes things in a little. So I want them to have a little bit, looks like there's some musculature and tendons attached. And then we'll do that a little bit on the other side as well. I'll hold the Alt, I'll do that just here. Shrink the brush a little bit. Okay, hold the Alt key. There we go. And down here it'll benefit from it as well. Alt. And again, this is like hero detail, because in gameplay you're never gonna be able to look there really. So I'll substantially reduce the poly count there. I'm at 311,000 right now, and that's mostly in those small areas. Let me get rid of the wireframe. Oh, look at our beautiful boy. Oh, he's beautiful. Modders use it, not the developers. Oh, let's see. I'd prefer to imagine he uses the little dangly arms to give friendly, harmless hugs. Veteran Cinder, that's what I think as well, you know, and they're not that long, so you got to get right up in there. You got to get up in that boy. If he's going to use his little arms to give you a hug, you got to get in there. How do you adapt 3D models like this to the 3D effect? So, any 3D model will work with the 3D effect, you know? If it's a 3D object in 3D space, once you turn stereoscopic on, it's just gonna work. There isn't really any special consideration you have to make unless your camera angles are locked down and very specific. Whereas in, say for example, in 3 Down Stars on the new 3DS, it's very dynamic. The camera moves all over the place. So there isn't really any special consideration that I could do for these models that would change their design philosophy, really. So I'm going to open the normal blood balloon. All right, new scene. It's really the composition of scenes as opposed to the models. That's what I consider, especially when I was for stereoscopic. Because you have to plan out where things are in a scene. When things are closer to the camera, things are farther from the camera. I love him. He's beautiful in his own way. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to flip this guy, all right? We're going to make him squished. We'll leave the dangler the way it is, because I'm going to animate that, of course. Rotate. See, I think I have to rotate it in the modeling program, right? So in this, it's, yeah, I don't want to muck things up here. So I'll rotate it in the modeling program. So what I'll do is I'll squish him so it's like he is, like he's on the ground, okay? Where's my brush? Okay. Here we go. Actually, first, I'll save this. Blood balloon. I'll just put ground. How about that? Yeah? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you want to squash him there, right? There we go. This is the grounded one, you see? Zoom in a little. So he's going to be flipped upside down later on. So let's have a look. Oh, yeah! Yeah. Real nice. Real nice. Yeah. Okay. And so we've squished it downward, but now we also want it, because the flesh is pushed out the sides. So what we'll do is we'll expand his love handles out the side here now, because he's sort of gooing out the sides is the correct way to say that. And that also means that I can substantially reduce the poly count down at the bottom. Okay. Yeah. There we go. So that looks like he's properly squished up against the ground now. And it's also not quite even, which will help animate it nicely against the ground, especially since he'll be able to travel up and down slopes and whatnot. And what we will do is we'll squish this part as well, because now it's falling in. Gravity is now having an effect on this as well. So we'll grab his dangler hole and we'll move it up a little. There we go. There we go. That looks right. All right, so if you can imagine this being upside down, we did it. We have done it. Okay. But I'm looking at the scale, and I think the dangler might be a little too long now, so we'll shorten the dangler a bit. And this guy can move, but he moves very slowly. In Ghoul Busters, he shoots projectiles at you, and he can move as well. So when he appears in future games, he'll serve a similar function, where he'll shoot a projectile. Okay, there we go. What do you guys think of that? Now imagine that's upside down, and we've got this guy here. Yeah, Brennan. Exactly, yeah. It's obvious I'm just a massive fan of stereoscopic and the 3DS. I love the 3DS, and I know that people all around the world love the 3DS, and that's why I'm making these final games. And it's any game that uses a stereoscopic, you know, it's awesome. I just wanted to see the cool stereoscopic effect, and it's that's something I've kept in mind with every single scene in 3 Down Stars, is how objects can add to the depth of the scene for stereoscopic. And you'll find in 3 Down Stars there are certain areas where it'll take on a cinematic camera angle, and all of a sudden there's this sweeping landscape, and it just feels like the depth can keep going on and on and on. And maybe something close to the camera pops out a little bit, and that's something I put a lot of effort into. So yeah, I'm just a big fan of stereoscopic. It's always so cool. I'll tell you something cool. A couple years ago, I watched Wizard of Oz in 3D, stereoscopic 3D. I had never seen it in stereoscopic 3D before, and so I'm watching it on my TV, and I got passive glasses, not the kind that need to be charged. And it got to the scene where the group, it feels like an RPG, right? Wizard of Oz is an RPG. Can we all agree on that? And the Tin Man had a gun. He just had a revolver. And they're going, yeah, we're going to kill the witch. The Scarecrow... was it the Scarecrow that had the gun? I think the Scarecrow had the gun. It was just a revolver, and I thought, I don't recall there being a gun in this movie. They were going to shoot the witch with a gun. That's pretty funny, right? Okay. And I wouldn't have noticed it otherwise, but it was in stereoscopic, and the gun just really popped out. Jank Media. What? No super chat option? Darn. Can't say. About to play PS5 with my buddy, but was hoping to send you a few bucks. I did sign up for the Patreon, though. Keep up the good work. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jank Media. I really appreciate that. That makes a huge difference. So, thanks for that. I don't know what a super chat is. I've not. I don't know that much about how the streaming and everything works, but that's awesome. Hey, before you go, Jank Media, can I ask about the PS5? I've never even played one or seen one in person. Does PS5 have, like, unlimited polygons? Is that true? Like how they sort of said in marketing, like, oh, unlimited, you can have as many polygons as you want. Is that, how accurate is that assessment? Yeah, he might, this guy might be a little squelchy, yeah. You wish the Switch had stereo 3D and handheld mode. Ah, that would have been so cool. I have an Android phone. The resolution is like 1920 by 1080, and it's glasses-free lenticular 3D, like the 3DS. But it's an Android device, and it looks incredible because the resolution's so high. Unfortunately, not a lot of apps or games use that for stereoscopic, so that's a real bummer. Okay, let's do the claw machine. Since it's going to be very easy to add the spikes, let's go claw machine. We're doing this guy now. Ready? This guy's got real veiny there, so let's have some fun with this. So what we have to do is stretch this out a bit, and I'll add the spikes in engine. How about that? Just to save the poly count, we can reuse geometry and whatnot. All right, so first, let's see. Inflating can cause problems, right? Let's smooth out this area first, so we don't cause ourselves any problems. We'll smooth it out, and then we'll reduce. See how we got rid of our hole there? Okay. I'm looking at how I want to use this chunk down at the bottom for the claw machine. Yeah, I had to get it ordered in from China a couple years ago. It's Axon 7M Max, I think. That sounds right. And they don't make them anymore. There were a couple games that were designed for stereoscopic 3D, but you had to use their game app store, and it was in Chinese only. I couldn't read it. It made it a little difficult for me. Oh, I accidentally reduced the whole thing again. So it was very cool. Okay, there we go. Yeah. It's so cool seeing glasses-free 3D in a high resolution. And then we also need to grab this and stretch. So what we're doing is expanding so we can make our claw machine. And we'll put a couple of claws in there. So I'm just planning a good way to do the claws. Because I might make holes for the claws, and then I might add the claws in engine. If I add the claws in engine, I can have a much stronger separation of geometry, and I can reuse geometry as well, which will help with rendering overhead, so better performance overall, use less memory. Okay. Okay, let's look at our scale so far. You see it's wider than the balloon is. But also we need to consider, I drew this stylistically for the pixel art style, so the scale maybe doesn't necessarily need to match 1-to-1, because now this is going to appear in realistic looking games. This was meant to be clear and visible, but I think maybe matching the scale would be all right in this situation. There were certain enemies where I made their proportions a certain way to make them adorable in the Ghoul Busters art style, and it's difficult balancing an art style when the game is meant to be a horror game, but you also need to have a sense of whimsy and cuteness. There's a balance to it. Your brain, even if you don't actively think about it, your brain understands that there's a correlation and some blend between this visual horror and an adorability, a cuteness to it, and your brain latches onto it in a different way because it's trying to figure out, am I supposed to be scared of this or am I supposed to like this? And that was a major part of my thought process with the Ghoul Busters stuff. You know, the monsters are, by philosophy and design, they're scary, but you kind of look at that guy and you just kind of want to give him a hug. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like he needs a hug. That guy, like, he should be this horrible nightmare, but he's so smiley and adorable. And yet, you kind of, I'll show you some of the characters here. Like, I just wanted them to have this cute, dumpy. There wasn't any particular art style that I looked at a game that existed and thought, I'll make the art style like that. This is something that I just sort of thought up. It really only took me a couple drafts to come up with this dumpy, adorable proportions. And when you see the adult characters in those dumpy proportions, it's just fun to look at. All right, we better get back to our claw machine. Yeah, spoopy. That's right. Exactly. That's exactly how you should describe that. I wish we were allowed to do 3D stuff, but 3D TVs aren't very popular these days. But I would love to do stereoscopic, you know, like side by side on the Switch. But we do have the cardboard. What's that called? I don't know what that is. So in terms of sound effects, I've created like I call them monster boxes or monster sticks, and they're sort of like weird musical instruments that are really designed just to make screeching, horrible sound effects for monsters. So I'll do a video on that in the future, and I'll show you what I'm working on as well for those. It's important to sort of mix organic and inorganic elements. Excuse me, when you've got monsters that are kind of like these. So I want to start making it look like there's bones that connect to these different parts. So what I'll do is use the draw tool, and I might want to do the inflate tool. I'll hold Alt and see what happens here. Yeah, that's the effect that oh, let's go to the inflate tool. I'll hold Alt. Yeah, that's more of what I want. There we go. So we've got this sort of claw machine look to it. All right. There we go. Yeah, and this guy will appear in Gaiden. If I'm able to get that launched on the Wii U, he'll be in Gaiden, and then if I'm able to get Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers on the 3DS, you'll be seeing these guys there as well. And again, I'm working very hard to get this on all 3DS models. What's happening here? Nothing's changing? I'm going to save. It's being a little funny here. I'll switch tools and see. Okay. I'm holding Alt. Huh. I might just open and close Sculptors again. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, it's gone a little funny. I don't know. Let's try the grab tool and see what it does. That's going okay. Okay. Let's use drawl. Yeah, I noticed OBS puts a bit of strain on my computer when I'm doing a bunch of things. I actually might just close Sculptors and open it again. There we go. Do we have Sculptors here? Where is it? Sculptors, please. Sculptors. Spoopy TM. I actually have only got to try the Switch. What do we call that? Switch Google Cardboard. A friend brought it over the other day, and I got to play a bit of Breath of the Wild with that, so that was pretty neat. I would love, if I could do Vicarious Brothers, I would love to put it on the Switch, so you can view it like that. That would be pretty rad. Okay. Labo, thank you, Tim. That's it. All right, so here we go. We are going to define the bones. So what we're putting in, you can see there are four claw bits, right? So I'll define 4 bones for the claws, and then everything else in between, I'll stretch it taut so it looks like skin that's being pulled between the 4 bones. So all this chunky jelly stuff, that's going to get tightened up. It's going to be tight, real tight. Okay, there we go. Ooh, it's a little bit sideways, isn't it? Go ahead and move it over just so it's more linear. Easy done. Okay. We are. Okay. And again, I'm going to add the claws in engine. So that means when I formatted this guy, I get him into Unity, then I'll add the claws then. And that way I can just reuse the claw geometry and not have to sculpt it 4 times. Okay, there we go. What time is it? I didn't even check what time it is in the rest of the world, so I don't know. I hope it's not a weird hour, anyone. Anyway, yeah, I just think it's fun to do sculpting and hanging out. Generally, for almost all of the previous creatures that I've been sculpting, I generally do them on stream. It's just a fun way to hang out, and people can look at these beautiful boys. I always love seeing game developers for the series that I really like. I just love, even if you can catch for a split second, you know, you see their workstation creating their characters and monsters. I always love that. It's just so cool. I remember years ago when they announced Pokemon X and Y, and for like 1.5 seconds they showed briefly part of a model of Fletchling, and that was just such a cool moment. I always remember that, thinking, no way, I can't believe we got to see them modeling one of the Pokemon for a second. I just thought it was so rad. And especially when you see the concept art for Silent Hill monsters, I just love seeing that. It's so cool. I almost never draw concept art for Silver Falls monsters, and the reason being is I'm not handing the design off to someone else. Usually you'll have a visual artist come up with the idea, and then they'll sit down with their team and decide what works and what doesn't work, and then they'll hand the concept art to their 3D modelers, and then the 3D modelers will create the creature. But for me, because I'm a solo developer, I already know exactly what I want my monster to be, and I've almost never been in a situation where I've thought, oh gee, I'll try this and see if it works, because in my head I already have a very strong vision of what I want. So there's almost no revision process. I just make the thing that I want to make because I can see it very clearly in my head. And I've almost never been in a situation where I needed to do a second draft because this is exactly what I wanted. So in this situation, there's no need for me to draw concept art. There's no need for me to sort of you know, noodle around a bit until I got something that I think will work. That's one advantage of being a solo developer and being able to perform these tasks. But also, when you're a solo developer, you're also at a real risk of your ideas stagnating because you have no collaborative team there to help you create variety and to make sure that what you're doing would sort of make sense to people. So that's something that I have to be very careful of, because I'm a solo developer, and I come up with all the concepts and ideas, is I have to put extra care into making sure that the ideas don't stagnate. What does stagnate is my coffee. Oh, Nanashi! 1 a.m. in Argentina. Let's not, I mean, that's not too late, right? I often will work, especially when I was doing all 7 games, I would often work until it would be like 3 a.m., you know, I'm getting the games ready, and then I would look at the clock. I think it's still like 6 in the evening, but I'd look over to my clock and it would be 3 a.m. and I would think, uh-oh, I might have worked, you know, a little too late today. All right. So what I've done is I've created my bone structure, so now I'm just pulling the skin taut in between the bones. So I'm bringing them in like that. This will be our claw machine. You know, it would be fun if there were little teeth inside as well. It'd be kind of upsetting, wouldn't it? So we'll want to smoothen out, once we've brought the skin in, we'll smoothen out the skin. Oh god, it sounds like, and then we'll put the lotion in the basket, is what it sounds like I'm going to say next. We'll smoothen it out, and then we'll draw veins in between it, in between the skin and whatnot. We'll add little details like that. We'll tighten up the bones as well. And we'll put the lotion in the basket. I might have to refresh my coffee. I might step out for just a couple minutes and get a refill. What's your favorite character of Silver Falls games? Oh, some people pay good money for cold coffee. That's a good point. I don't know if you have Dare iced coffee where you live, but I don't mind a Dare iced coffee. I hadn't had one in a few years. Maybe they're sugary, I don't know, but they're quite delicious. What's my favorite character of Silver Falls games? I don't want to play favorites. I kind of really like Karn. You know, in 3 Down Stars, he's got he's in the motel area. He's carrying the box. He's got the cool headband. In Epilogue 1, you can interact with Karn a fair bit. I'm not sure if I ever told you, Nanashi. There's like a 1 out of 25% chance. So in Epilogue 1 in 3 Down Stars, sometimes Karn will be sitting on the table there behind the bar, and there's a campfire. Sometimes Karn is sitting on the table. There's like a 1 out of 25% chance that he'll have a star glass there for you, and he'll give you the star glass if you try to pick it up. And there's an ability attached to the star glass. It's called Earth Whisper. It increases the power of all your elemental weapons by like 25 or 30%. It's something insane and ridiculous. So if you haven't got yourself that star glass from Karn, and if you have access to Epilogue 1, I'd recommend trying it. You just have to keep entering and exiting. I did get a message from someone that got it, and they went full ham with their elemental weapons, because the Earth Whisper will stack with other elemental boosts as well. So you know, you have like Cryomaniac, Pyromaniac, Electromaniac. Those will stack with Earth Whisper, and you can get your weapons to be ridiculous. All right, let's go ahead and carve the bones out now. Well, what about you? Do you have a favorite character for Silver Falls? For me, it's probably Karn. But do you have a favorite? Someone that you think is just like, that's my guy, that's the cool guy. Yeah, that's a pro tip. Feel free to share that. I've tried to share the information around as much as I can, but you know, we don't have video game magazines. I like to think that if video game magazines still existed, you know, that were popular, that we go to them for our news and whatnot and our cheat codes. I wanted to have stuff in the games where it kind of feels like you would have only found out about that from a magazine, or your friend had the magazine and a cheat code, and then, you know, your friend told you about the cheat code, and then you've got to pass you've got to pass the cheat code off to someone else as well. I really like that idea in games, and sort of, it's a shared experience. You know, we're all playing the game together, and you were able to get something cool because, you know, someone shared some information with you. Okay, so we're carving out the details for our bones. We'll add some nodules there, some knuckles, right? Some knuckle definition. Okay, we'll work on a little more. So this is a little bit more involved than the rest of the balloon, isn't it? We'll have to animate this guy with some bones as well. Then bones. We'll smoothen this out a bit. You'll see as it forms. I don't even know what time it is. It's kind of a weird time for me to stream, so I don't even know what time it is. Wood Wheeler, yeah. Just waiting until you get to play with him in Deadly Shadows. That's going to be the title I focus on next for the Switch. So that's next, Deadly Shadows. I absolutely want that. I want to fast track that. So all throughout next year, early, I will 100% be trying to get Deadly Shadows done. And I am going to do the actual DS version of Deadly Shadows. So we'll have the Switch version of Deadly Shadows, and then we'll have the free DS ROM that you will be able to play on actual DS hardware. So I am working on that. I've started building the framework for that, so I'm very excited about doing the DS game. What we'll do is we will now smooth. There's my smooth guy. Yeah, oh, Nanashi, if you enjoyed the soundtrack for Guardians and Metal Exterminators, if you enjoyed that soundtrack, Deadly Shadows, I'm not going to say it's going to have like the same kind of soundtrack, but it's going to have that 80s rock energy. So for Deadly Shadows, well, for Guardians and Metal Exterminators, my idea with the soundtrack was to go for an 80s sort of a power rock, a rock ballad feel to the soundtrack, whereas for Deadly Shadows, it's going to be 80s rock, but a little bit of like metal and sort of psychedelic, or not psychedelic, sort of a galactic rock for Deadly Shadows. So that's where I'm aiming with that. And I'm hoping you also enjoy the soundtrack for Deadly Shadows. Oh yeah, 3 down stars. Holt. I'm very excited to keep working on the games because Holt, Annalise, and Moss, their stories aren't over by the end of 3 down stars, and there's so much more that I have planned for their stories. And if you like Holt's design on the jacket, I've got more of that stuff designed. No, what happened? I don't like that at all. I'm gonna undo that. Shoot fire. I didn't like that. Okay, so we want to grab the inside parts now, right? We want this to be a lip. So what I think we'll do is use our inflate, and then we'll hold the Alt tool. We want to build a lip, so it's kind of gross on the inside, right? And then we also need to make these probably more flat angles because the skin is being stretched between the bones. So let's go ahead and hold the Alt button here. There we go. Man, I'd like the strength just to be a bit more, right? You know what, let's change the flesh. We've been looking at this flesh for a while. Let's just pick something just so we have something fun to look at, right? Just to mix up our eyeballs a little. What's that look like? Yeah, that's pretty fun to look at. How about this? How about I'll just put on some other music from Guardians and Metal Exterminators. How about that? So there's tracks that I generally haven't put online yet, but I am organizing to put the soundtrack up. So what I'll do is I'll play some of that stuff. I'll add that to the playlist here. Music. So there are tracks. There's Neon Blind, Metal Nightmare, Somebody Save the Animals. Okay, I'll add that to my playlist. I really like this track here. Let me know if the music is too loud. I can adjust it if it's too loud. Where'd my OBS go? I'll just turn it up a little bit. I do like this track. Get the chat back up. Oh, I'd love if Holt jackets were real. The keep yourself alive jackets. Let's see here. Oh, I'm holding the Alt. Here we go. Yeah, see, we're creating this lit here. Yeah, there we go. And I'm thinking we have space in there for a couple extra teeth inside, which is a little upsetting, I think, if you were to look up into it. I would like, again, if, say for example, if this guy even appeared in, if I added him to, say, Episode Prelude on the Switch, because I am working on an update for Episode Prelude, but it does have lower priority right now because we're time sensitive with the 3DS and Wii U. But I want to add more enemies, more playable characters to Episode Prelude. This guy could very well appear in there, and it'd be cool if it's like higher up, so this ends up dropping down from above you, trying to grab you. And if you looked up and just saw a whole bunch of extra teeth, I think that would be pretty sweet. Okay, so we're running into some trouble here. I got to make sure no geometry got jacked up. Okay. So I might smoothen that and then reduce. There we go. I just want to be careful I don't cause any problems down here. There we go. Just reduce. Overall reduce. We can reduce everything right now. Right now it's just crazy poly count, isn't it? One day I would like to get actual jackets produced, even if it's like pretty expensive and I can only get a couple made. I would love to get some Holt jackets made. And also he has that vest with the, you know, the biker vest. In the story it says it used to belong to his grandpa. And it's got like the eagle on the back. That one's pretty sweet too. Okay, so you see we've got a lip there, right? So I want to make that tighter as well. So what we will do is we're going to grab and we're going to move that up now. So we want to make it look like it's skin, and like a mouthy skin, right? Go up. Yep, that's what we want. Cool, that's upsetting looking. Nice. Oh, I don't like that at all. Very good. That's very good. Yep. Zoom in a little. Yeah, and we want to make sure it lines up with the hull. You know, as you get to the lowest point in that, you need to make sure it makes sense and lines up with his dangle hole, or his dangle column, I suppose. There we go. That's pretty good. So we will use the inflate tool. When does the Silver Falls merch store launch? People have been asking about that for a long time now. You know what I can do? All right, we'll take a break from modeling and I'll show you a bunch of the logos that I've created in Silver Falls in high definition. And this is stuff that's like in the background of 3 Down Stars, in the background of some of the other games, t-shirts that characters wear in the games. I created all that stuff in the highest resolution that was reasonable, and so if people did want those shirts, then we could produce them. So I'll just take a quick break from this, and I can show you that stuff. Oops. Holding Alt here. Yeah, it's getting closer and closer. See, now I need to run through it. Hold Alt along the edge. Yeah, see, that's what we need right there. Okay. Okay, so I'll save that, and okay, here we go. So, I gotta be careful of what I don't want to spoil anything. This is my project folder that I'm opening now, so if anything gets spoiled, we're live on stream. I hope I don't ruin anything here. I'm just gonna be careful. Pardon me while I look at my screen here. What can I open and not ruin? Posters, texture. Oh, I can show you some of the funny stuff from 3 Down Stars as well. That's in high definition. Okay. My computer is... I've got like no free space on my C drive. I never have free space available on my C drive, so it's very slow loading up the thumbnails right now. Okay. So you have the... Right, so here's one thing. I'll open this. My computer's getting so sleepy right now. So this is the patch on Moss's shirt. Sheriff of Laureluse County. And this is this is just like a raw, clean version. I made this clean version. If I could send this away to a place that makes patches, they can use this raw, clean version. But the version that's in the game looks like this, and this is textured to simulate an actual patch. So I made a version that looks like it was actually made. The version that's on Moss's shirt obviously is lowered resolution, but in upcoming Silver Falls titles, I'll be using this higher resolution version, of course. Yeah, and I just wanted to simulate it looking like a real patch. So that's one thing. What's another thing? That's the coldest coffee I've ever had. Okay. Oh, that's low res. I might have the high resolution version. I'll show you some of the artwork that I created. You see this painting in the hospital in 3 Down Stars. It's meant to look like a painting that somebody made. It's hanging up in the hospital. It was always designed for people to look at and sort of think like, oh, neat, like an abstract, whatever's going on. There's a secret to it. If you look at it upside down, you'll see what the person that was drawing it was trying to draw. Oh, I made this artwork. I think this is probably in one of the motel rooms. I just thought it was like a modern art, an artsy-fartsy, pretentious, obnoxious artwork. So that's what I made it as. You have a cigarette there and love hearts coming out of it. Here is unicorn artwork that I created. If I can get this on a shirt, I'd put that on a shirt, I guess. It's pretty hilarious, I think. There's a lot of moose art. Oh, here's this pop art. Here's this moose pop art. You'll see this. I'm sure you'll find this around the motel rooms and whatnot. I thought you had just a funny moose pop art thing going on. Oh yes, here is a Rock Heart logo. You'll see this throughout the game. It's on different products. Falcon. If you go to the lumber yard in the warehouse, or whatever they call it, in the lumber yard, you'll see Falcon has that on his shirt, and any Rock Heart products generally will have the logo on there. What else do I have? Here are the cup coasters. I actually really want to get these cup coasters made. Excuse me. So I have looked into them. So around Silver Falls and in many locations, even in the fairgrounds, you'll find you'd wear the corn. I would wear that if I could make that unicorn shirt. Absolutely, I would be wearing that hands down. Yeah, I do really want to make these cup coasters. I thought it would be cool if I could do physical cartridges or physical discs and include a pack of cup coasters. So this is one for the Dusty Cactus Bar and Grill, Silver Falls. I quite like that pattern, really. This is a cup coaster for Pale Moonlight, a popular beer in Silver Falls, owned and operated by Sungrand. It's so small you would never see the text, but what is Sungrand in Silver Falls? It could just be any random company, be responsible. 1898, let's see, Pale Moonlight. And we have one for Silver Courage. Owned and operated by Sungrand, Silver Courage, brewed locally. I think there's some lore that you can read in the loading screens as well. Let's see, what else? Oh, yep, here we go. We got our chunky chicken logo. Maybe I can put that on a shirt if people would like the chunky chicken logo on a shirt. Might be fun as well. I don't know, let me know if the music's too loud. I don't even know what the levels are like. I'll turn it down. I don't know if the music's too loud right now. Just let me know. What else have we got here? Let's see. Oh, okay, I put that there. Let's see, what else can I show? Oh yeah, this is the logo for the Space Astronomic Science Studies, I believe is what it is, the SASS. It's their Silver Falls version of NASA. A character, Tira Dollarbuck, has this on her shirt. It's a bit lower resolution, but you can see her wearing that shirt. And I think this would be a pretty cool logo to put on a shirt. What else have I got? Let's see. This is the Trisonus logo. So if you look at Holt's headphones, on the side of his headphones, there's a logo. And this is the logo, and the brand is Trisonus. There's characters that have a Trisonus logo on their shirts in the game as well, so they're into the same brand of headphones. I better get the chat back. The chat minimized. Let's see. Let me open up a couple more things here. All right. Okay, I got some fun stuff here. Here we go. I will open this graphics. How do you have the time to do programming, art, story modeling, and music for a whole series by yourself? The answer is very sad. I sacrificed my social life, the hobbies that I really enjoy, and the friends that I like hanging out with. I sacrificed that stuff for a few years, but it was at a point where everyone was having kids anyway, and moving on to different stages of their lives. So it wasn't like we were going to get to hang out that much anyway. But I'm at a point where I am slowly able to get back in touch with people, and I'll say, hey, let's catch up, have a coffee, play some Smash Bros for a little bit. So yeah, unfortunately, to do this kind of work, the amount of work you have to do, you got to sacrifice your social life. It's a real bummer. It also means that I don't get to play all the games that I really want to play. I'm a massive Resident Evil and Final Fantasy fan. I haven't got to play any of the new Final Fantasies. I didn't get to play 7 Remake, and 7 is my favorite game of all time. I didn't get to play the Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm not saying that so people can feel sorry for me. It's such a first world thing, but to answer your question, to make the time to do all of this stuff, I had to sacrifice the stuff that I really like. And at some point in the future, maybe when this series is stabilized and I can take a break in between games, I'll finally get to play Resident Evil 2 Remake and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Let's see here. Okay, I gotta be careful with what I show again as well. But I'll show some of the signage. So this is signage for upcoming Silver Falls games. I had to make dozens and dozens of signage, especially now that the Frying Saucer, the diner, that's going to start appearing in games. I had to populate that whole diner with signage that I've made myself. So that's kind of like it. I actually really like this. I was looking at getting tin signs made as well, so I could get this stuff actually made. That's one of the things. I thought this one was pretty funny. This is a buff squirrel. You can see this, it's the same classic recipe since 1888. You can see this buff squirrel is lifting 500 pounds. This is Victorian era art from like the 1870 or something. So I think I just filled in the color and I gave him this cool thing here, so I was able to use that. It's like public domain, but I saw this buff squirrel and I thought, boy, that's unsettling looking. I have to use that. Yeah, it sucks that I can't get games to Europe, but I'm really hoping people find a way to get the games and just enjoy them anyway, you know. I'm just a gamer like everyone else. I just want to play cool games, but I'm at a point where I have the opportunity to make games, and I've got fun ideas that I think are fun. I've got weird characters, so yeah, I'll keep working on that for a while. I'll be able to catch up and get back to my backlog later on. You got a buff squirrel that I think is pretty fun. Oh, I had such a great time working on this artwork here. So I colorized this. This is all based on, again, based on like Victorian era line art from like 1860 or something like that. So I based it on that. Not the composition. I created the composition myself. I colored every, you know, I did all the coloring and whatnot. I'm happy with, you know, Alien Moonshine. Forget what happens next. So this is signage. This is the kind of stuff that if I had more time, I would have wanted this signage in 3 Down Stars, but I had so much on my hands creating 3 Down Stars, I couldn't make all this signage. So this is stuff that will be appearing in the series coming up. Let's see here. Ooh, I do like this signage. I like this one. Groovy Smoothie. Enjoy a far out treat. Oh, wow, we haven't had those spam bots in a while. I actually feel kind of special. How do we get rid of it? Oh no, it's spamming us. Let's just get rid of this guy. Unwanted commercial content or spam. Cool. Oh, this spam is asking me if I'm tired of being alone. That's so sad. What a mean and sad thing to ask. Okay. Oh, I really like this. I think this line art, I got this line art from, I think it came from like the 20s or something like that. So I used that base line art and I colored it in. I created the composition, and I wanted something that looked like it came out of the 50s, and then I colored it to reference Betty and Barney Hill. So I colored, you know, the hat and the dress a certain way to evoke a sense of Betty and Barney Hill, if you're familiar with that abduction case. And yeah, and I created this fun little composition that I think it does feel like something that could have come out of the 50s. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what else I've got here. What is this? Okay, so I'm not from Europe, but as a Westerner that is not familiar with seeing umlauts on my letters, I think it's funny when a word has a bunch of umlauts and accent marks, because as a Westerner we generally don't have those. So when we see them, I generally it's kind of funny because we don't really understand what the accent marks are for in general. So I created Fjufjenbjörgir as a brand of ice cream in Silver Falls, and it is a health food for all the world. I suppose in the 40s and 50s, you would have this sort of very flat, maybe bitonal or tritonal color to signage, and they just claimed ridiculous things were health food. So I enjoy studying signage and artwork from different decades and eras. So this is meant to be a 40s era ice cream, and maybe they just never updated their brand. I need to report more of these spam things. It keeps asking me if I'm alone, and it makes me feel a little sad. think I'm removing these. I think I'm removing them. Okay. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you... They're meant to be funny. Some are a little bit adult humor. You know, if you've played through a bit of 3 Down Stars, you'll find some adult humor there. There are signs here that are adult humor. I don't know. I don't know how to put them on YouTube, but they're just meant for you to walk through a building or whatnot, and you see a sign, and it's got some adult humor to it. It's just meant to give you a laugh. Yeah. Let's see here. And there's quite a few logos that I've created specifically with the 70s in mind, because there are games that I'm working on that take place in the 60s and 70s, but they won't be stylized. They'll have a more realistic modern art style, but I need to make sure the signage and everything around town looks like it was made in the 70s. So I've created a fair number of logos and signage that have the sort of the color scheme and the design philosophy of the 70s. And that's an arrow. I just enjoy studying the art from there. So that's quite fun. I'll just do a quick one. This is American cowboy wieners. It's just a hot dog thing, and I thought I'd make it sort of late 50s, 60s style. But when I was studying the signage and artwork from the 50s and 60s, there are innuendos, and then there's signage from the 50s and 60s. They didn't even bother with the innuendo part. They just went straight for the punchline. And so that's something I thought it makes sense if I make some signage like that, because when I was studying that stuff and looking up signage in the 50s and 60s, man, those people, wow. That's just adult humor on every sign, really. Anyway, we've been going for about 3 hours. Maybe I'll wrap things up pretty soon, but it's been a lot of fun hanging out with everyone and just chatting, having a chill time talking about games. So I appreciate you all hanging out. I'm probably just gonna finish these up a bit later. I'll take a break so I don't have to look at the computer so much. But it's really just sort of boring stuff now, like using my, as you saw, I'll use the reduction brush to get my poly count under control, and then I'll just make this look more like skin that's sort of held taut. I'll add some veins to it and whatnot, and then we can add the claws in Engine, in Unity. Oh, the Maverick posters are pretty brutal. Here, how about before I go, I'll bring up the Maverick posters so we can have a look. How about that? We can have an HD look. I don't think I've shared the HD versions of the Maverick posters. But people have asked about getting those printed as real posters as well. So I actually, once I get all these games under control, I'll look into getting those posters made. I know people get a laugh out of them. Excuse me. Let's see here. Okay, and get our textures, graphics, Maverick posters. Okay, so these should be the HD versions. I'll just open this one, see what it says. Okay, yeah. This one, Maverick says, "Be nice to your parents because one day they will both be dead and you will be all alone." Sad. That's one of the Maverick posters. Let's open one of the other ones. Maverick says, "Wash your hands before every meal, or you might get very sick and poop violently until you die." Sometimes I forget that I made these, so I get a little shocked when I read them, and I think, "Oh man, I can't believe I put that in the game." And they're just sitting on the wall. They're not, you know, like the game doesn't even focus on them. You just happen to walk past them and read them. All right, what's this one? Oh no. Maverick says, "Kiss someone you love unless they're underage. Maybe don't do that, please." But that's just good advice. Okay, that's common courtesy. That's being a good human being. Please don't do that. This one got cut from the game. This one's not in 3 Down Stars. So I thought I could save it and put it somewhere else in a future game. So this one's not in 3 Down Stars. Yeah, you know, and it's just more subtle. don't take candy from strangers except during Halloween because it's safer for some reason. I don't know why it's safer for some reason. It just is. What have we got here? Maverick says, dance like there's no tomorrow because nuclear war can happen at any second and you might die in your sleep. So that's just good advice, honestly. You know, Maverick D Moose is here to share the truth. And what have we got? Oh, this one. I don't even know what this one says. I'm going to open this. This one was also cut from 3 Down Stars. Oh! I forgot I did this one. Maverick says, be kind to your neighbors because one day they just might snap and it's very easy for them to buy a gun. And the last one that I have here. So again, I probably saved this one so I can put that in a future game. What's the last one here? Maverick says, reach for your dreams, because you will most likely fail, but at least you can say you tried. Which is, that's probably like my inner grown-up probably came out a little bit when I was writing that. I was trying to think of inspirational slogans, and I think that one, it came out of me. I probably wasn't even thinking about it. But yeah, you know what? Sometimes being a grown-up feels like that. Yeah, I want to look at what places can print them and send them out for the best price possible. Yeah. And it's the kind of thing where I wouldn't you know, print them and then send them out myself. That logistically I wouldn't be able to handle that. But I know there are services out there, so people have asked for them. So that's, yeah. As soon as I get these last games out on the 3DS and Wii U, then I will absolutely get right on that. You know, people seem to get a laugh out of them. So. Oh no! Derailing is all part of it. That's 100% part of the stream. I don't know, whatever you guys want to talk about. You know, I don't have a set schedule. I'm pretty easygoing. You know, I kind of feel like you go where the wind takes you, baby. You gotta let your hair flow through the wind. Go where the wind takes you. And if the wind tells you to look at some brutal posters with some catchphrases that maybe make you feel a little bit sad, you know, that's where you gotta go. Yeah, I do want to make more Maverick posters as well, and you know, I'm just like anyone else that's doing something they enjoy. Is I'm constantly trying to improve. So in terms of composing, performing with instruments, mixing audio, I'm constantly trying to improve as well, so that my new games are even better than the last ones. In terms of artwork, you know, the hand-drawn stuff, the digital stuff, I'm always trying to improve. I really don't want to stagnate in terms of my level of ability, so that when I do make more stuff, I want it to be even better than it was before. So, do I have anything else funny to show before I wrap things up? Oh my god. You know what? I'll show you an HD look at Holt's jacket and his alt. Let me see if I can get that here. Where have I got that? Clicking away, click. Texture, tie-dye. Patch graphics. No, it's not in there. Books and magazines. Nope, it's not in there. And a couple months ago, I investigated and set up a workflow for using Wombo, that AI. It's like a tool to help you create images using AI. And I'll be using that in the future for... there's going to be tons of books and magazines. Now that the games are in HD and I can have higher resolution textures, I have to have books and magazines everywhere. So if there are those things where they're not... they don't need... a very specific hand-drawn artwork, then I'll be using AI to create unique artwork for that stuff. And again, that stuff that's, you know, maybe it's not important to the lore, it's just magazines and books that are sitting on the shelves. I want all of those, even if they're not important, I want them all to have unique artwork on them, so I can use AI to create that stuff, so that I don't have to spend 12 hours creating something that isn't even important, and people will just walk past. Whereas there is stuff that's lore important, and those are the things that I hand draw and create manually. Oh yeah, join the Discord. We're always talking about something funny. People often find funny stuff in the games. We're always chatting about other games as well. Join that. I'll put the link in as well. Oh, okay. You know what? You know what I can show? I'll show you some high def stuff. This is high def, but you can see it doesn't look anywhere near as realistic as, say, for example, if you look at Episode Prelude. And the real-time graphics of Episode Prelude. The real-time graphics of Episode Prelude on the Switch look better than this. This is pre-rendered, and that shows I made this a couple years ago. And this is a photo that you see in Arnault's house. I've improved so much as a developer that this doesn't even look anywhere near as good as my real-time graphics now. Here is another flashback photo. So you have Sam, Moss's father, his name's Rocky, and you have Wood, who's the owner of the lumber yard. I don't think I've ever showed this in HD before, so yeah, this would be a first look, I guess. But you can see, like, even this, you know, the graphics aren't as realistic. It doesn't look as good. Let's see, what else do I have in? What resolution is this? Oh, this is squashed, of course, because it has to be part of a frame. And I think I'm when I do the 3 Down Stars HD remaster remake, I think I have to re-render all of these scenes because they don't look that great, you know. Whereas in 3 Down Stars, they're generally, you know, you don't really get a massively, you know, they don't really fill up the screen. You don't get a huge look at them. Let's see. Oh, look at. Okay. You got this sort of psychedelic art, and you also have. Oh, let you just enjoy that look for a second, and then you have this psychedelic art, which, again, I was trying to create pretentious modern art, so I wanted it to. Yeah, I tried to make it pretentious, like obnoxiously pretentious on purpose. It's modern art, you know. I'm not a giant fan of modern art myself personally. Here's another piece of pretentious modern art. I'm pretty sure you see this in one of the motel rooms. And then when I made that, I was trying to out pretentious myself as I was making these, and I was thinking, how can I make art that's more obnoxious and more pretentious? So I made that. Oh, I can't remember where this is in 3 Down Stars. I don't remember where I've used this. I don't know if maybe it's hanging in Shellaby's house. Oh, see, you, bacon and egg, you see something that I don't. You see, and that's what modern art is about, is you get to interpret this meaning, so the artist gets to put in less work, and then the viewer gets to do all the work for them. And then, so after I created that, I thought, no, I'm sure I could be more pretentious and lazy. Then I created this, and I'm certain. Oh, I don't remember. I think, again, this is probably in one of the motel rooms. I don't remember where I put it. But I thought there's just enough stuff here where people can interpret something. But I put in, this probably took me 7 seconds to make. So it seems like the kind of thing that would be hanging in a museum worth $275,000. And there's a nice, so if people want prints of those, if you want, I'll offer canvas prints, and you can have a canvas of that on your wall if you want. I don't know why you would want it, because it's very ugly. Okay, this though, I genuinely really like this. I would like if I could get this on a canvas, I would actually put this on my wall. I do like this one. Let's see. What resolution is this? That one's 1024. Oh, okay, this one. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look here. There we go. There's a nice HD look at Holt's jacket. This is the texture here, and that is Keep Yourself Alive. I wonder if I've got his... Oh, this is spoilers here. Okay, Nanashi, are you still here? Okay, if you're... I really hope you're still here. Okay, for everyone that's here, no one else has seen this. This is a first. I don't think I'll ever share this again. This is a secret. Don't tell anyone you saw this. There might be spoilers here. Oh, this is a bit of a lower resolution. I won't say where the jacket is from because you would know where it's from. But it says all dead, all dead. Let me open the... I'll open the Photoshop file, and then you can see an HD version of it. I think this is the version that's used in game, so it's a little lower resolution. So if you give me a second, I'll wait for Photoshop to open. Okay, we have the high resolution version here. And yeah, no one's ever seen this. You guys that are here are the only ones that have ever seen it, and you're the only ones that ever will see it. I won't show it again. This is a secret since we've all been hanging out for 3 hours. So I won't say where it's from. If you know where it's from, then you know where it's from. I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say anything. So this is that alternate jacket. All dead, all dead. And again, you can sort of compare that to the original jacket. Keep yourself alive. So, I really had so much fun designing these. I would really like to get these patches made. It would be cool. You can put the patch on whatever you want. You know, put it on a bag or your own jacket. Yeah, cool. Oh, I'll show you the close-up texture. You know the chunky chicken meals in 3 down stars that give you the full health. This is an HD look at the bag as well. So chunky chicken. Okay, do I have anything else? Anything cool? Any cool secrets? No, I think that's all I can share today. Yes. Oh, what about the shirt? I don't know where the shirts went. Ah, you know what? Before I go, all right, here we go. I'll show you. Where'd my chips go? Products. Where my chips at? Yeah. All right, you guys, are you ready for this? All right. This is one, I wouldn't mind putting these on a t-shirt. I would really like to put these on a t-shirt. So when you're playing Silver Falls, episode Prelude, you'll find these, and 3 down stars, you'll find these, and they're going to pop up all throughout the series. This is an HD look at the textures for the snacks. So this is the item that boosts your power temporarily. And it is Power Snack, and it has a steak, some assault rifles, and baseball bats. And it's red, white, and blue, of course. It's got extra preservatives, Jen Erickson Foods. So I had so much fun creating the design for that. Let's see. Yeah, what do you think, Nanashi? Did you like the jacket? Yeah, I've never shared that high resolution look with anyone before. We have Snack Focus. This one increases the power of your firearms and yeah, your ranged weapons. So this is a focus snack. It's just got coffee beans all over the place. I assume it's probably just coffee beans inside there. Again, you got your extra preservatives. I'll read this out to you. Jen Erickson snacks promise to deliver a great boost of energy and buff to your stats. I forgot that I wrote that. It literally says it's a buff to your stats. Okay. Just keep eating these delicious snacks all day to keep your stats boosted and your rivals crushed beneath your powerful tree trunk-like legs. I've... Just... Okay, next. Next. Alright. You got spicy snacks. I think this increases your either your defense or your ability to escape grappling faster is what this does. I'll have to double check. But this is spicy snack. It's got butt burnin' fire is the name of the flavor. So that's a flavor that I feel like would exist in real life. Our snacks are all grown organically, then heavily engineered in a minimum of 13 laboratories until the starting ingredients are totally, legally, and ethically unrecognizable from their original forms. Then these ingredients are baked in ovens with the power of 7 suns until golden brown and delicious. 1947 Roswell Street, Misdirect, New Mexico. 555, 1961. USA. All right. And we'll have a look. I really wanted to make these higher resolution in episode Prelude, but I was running into memory limitations with that, so I had to lower the resolution in episode Prelude. And then we have the Jen Erickson Swift snack, which I thought, what would be like the most yucko, healthy flavors? That would be a chip. So I thought banana, broccoli, and oats. Yeah. And in the future, I would like to make more of these snack packages as well. Is this high resolution? Yeah, there we go. This is not an item. This is just graphics, so you can't eat the potato flavor in 3 Down Stars and episode Prelude, but you can see them in the environment. So this is the Jen Erickson American Snacks. It's potato-flavored potato chips. Do you need a powerful crunch to keep you going through the day? Very few snacks in the world can deliver that satisfying crunch that rocks your skull and brings an avalanche of flavor down onto your taste buds. If you are not tough enough to handle it, call the emergency services now, because Jen Erickson brand chips will rock your world. Our brand of snack items draws on secret legendary ingredients from around the world. Finely crafted, perfectly balanced flavors are the only snacks good enough for true snackologists. Buckle up and brace yourself for an intense snack experience. Well, I don't know how intense it's going to be if it's potato flavored. You know what I mean? I think my dog wants to hang out again. All right, these are Allardyce Farms. Okay, now this is a secret. And it's something that I actually will have to fix later on. But Allardyce Farms is a different brand from Jen Erickson. But in order to save development time, I actually just copy and pasted the text there. Which is funny because I went out of my way to change the address there. But I didn't have time when I was making 3 Down Stars. I didn't have time to actually write new text. So in future games, I actually have to replace that now. But you wouldn't be able to see it anyway because the texture is in such low resolution in 3 Down Stars and episode Prelude. But moving forward, I'll have to write brand new flavor text. But these are cheesy moose antlers, and this is probably like wish fulfillment for me, because I enjoy snacks so much. Internally, I was probably thinking like, what would be cool? You know how at some time in the 90s, Cheetos made those, like, I don't know what they were. They were like a big chunky flavor or chunky shape. I don't know. So I'm thinking that these snacks would be like moose antler shaped, and they're like a big Cheeto. So that's what I like to imagine for these cheesy moose antlers. Anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying them and having a laugh. Yeah, it's been so much fun hanging out with everyone. I got to share some secrets with you. Let's hang out on stream again soon. I'll find more cool secret stuff to share with you. All right, I'll wrap things up. My dog's barking. He probably wants to hang out with me. I've been on stream all day, so I'll go hang out with my dog now. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you hanging out. Thanks for playing the games. I'll post the link to the Discord. If you want to support me on Patreon, you know, you don't, if you feel like it, if you really want to, it does make a big difference. It does really help. I'll put the link to Patreon somewhere as well. So Thanks everyone. It's been fun. I think we've had a laugh. We've had a big laugh. Take care of yourselves. Okay, I'm gonna work very hard on these Gaiden games. I'm gonna try and get them launched. I really want to get these games to you. So if I work very hard, I should be able to get them onto the Wii U and 3DS for you. Take care, everyone. I'll see ya. Take care. Thank you. Okay.